Hey guys, I'm here with the Awakened INFJ, Jonas. Jonas, would you like to introduce yourself and pronounce your name correctly in Swedish?
Yeah, that will be an interesting task. So hello, my name is Jonas. Well, that's how I say it in English at least. And in Swedish, we usually say it like, we're gonna have a Swedish lesson here. It's more like, instead of Jonas, it's Jonas. So om man pratar lite mer svenska så låter det så här. Yeah, you see the...
What do you say?
If you talk in Swedish, it sounds more like this. That's what I said in Swedish. So, well, yeah, that's the name part. That's good. Well, that thing about introducing oneself, that's, wow. Where do you even begin with that? Well, I'm 26 years old. Aren't you 26 as well? Maybe 27 or...
No, I'm 25.
25, wow, that's close. All right. Well, I'm very much into psychology, philosophy, and like many of the deep things in regards of life overall. So it's hard to steer it into like a few sentences. But I think for you guys watching, you will kind of get a little bit better of a picture along the line here. But I've been a philosophy student. I'm also what is it called? Educated electrician, but that's not something that I am very much interested in. I think I had somewhat of a peer pressure when I was younger from my stepfather on that behalf, so I got into something that really wasn't for me. But anyway, other than that, I'm just on the path pretty much of exploring myself and exploring life as a whole, and try to get a hold of new perspectives and a new perception of life. And yeah, so it's so much about that, like the last 1.5 years or so. Before that, I'm not sure I was that what is it called? I'm not sure I was as aware of what I wanted to do, so to say, or what I really care for, except from it has always been something with human beings that I don't know, I see so much potential in human beings, and I've now more and more come to see that we have so much more to give and share with each other, instead of having this kind of a rat race where we're I don't know, competing with each other instead of like cooperating. So there's a lot of that that goes into this whole psychology philosophy thing as well. So that's a very weird introduction of myself, but that's that's a first.
Well, I think it was a great introduction. It's so cool. I don't know. I think it's really cool that you're from Sweden. I think I believe, I may be mistaken, but I believe that we have not, or I have not interviewed anybody outside of like the UK, including like Scotland and stuff, or the US or Canada. I think it's all been English speaking countries.
Yeah, okay, wow.
So you are the first.
Yeah,
obviously you learned English as a second language, but
yeah, to a decent degree at least. I you know that, yeah. Yeah, so it's fun that I'm the first, well, not the first European then, but since you had people from the UK, I guess.
Well, let's not speak too, I mean, Brexit may happen, so you may be the first European. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, actually. I haven't been too caught up in that. Well, now I almost lost my train of thought. Yeah, but I think it actually came to me earlier as well that from the interviews I've seen, which are plenty, I'm not sure if I've seen all yet of yours, the interviews you're doing. Yeah, that's true. There's only been like proper English-speaking people, and now I'm coming here being the first one with an accent.
Oh wait, no. Why do I always forget Wences? Wences is my like one of my favorite people. Wences. Why do I always forget that? Okay, Wences was the first European.
Yeah.
Or I mean, okay, the British people are European too. I know that this is probably gonna. I mean, there's a house divided, but yes, Wences. Wences was the first. You are the first male, I guess.
Cool.
You're the first male.
Good start.
Wences was the first female, so.
That's cool. Well, she's Wences. I like her a lot as well. I know that you mentioned her a handful of times, which makes a lot of sense because I can honestly see. I've been watching a lot of her videos, not as much the last couple of months or so, as I've been more into like spiritual stuff and beyond the mind, and especially now she's had I'm not so far as practically and overall developed as she is, but I can see I've had the thoughts of that you and her are actually, even though it seems like when you had that interview that you are of the perception that maybe like somewhat of a role model, something like that. But I feel like you have that. It's hard to explain. Some type of passion of sorts for human beings and like almost teaching others, but it's not teaching. It's like I don't know. It's like a beautiful thing, and I feel like it's been developed more in you the last like couple of weeks or so, maybe even the last couple of videos. I want to mention that I was thinking of it before the interview, that I feel like you're on such a good track of sorts. It's hard to explain, but it's I really enjoy the last couple of videos, maybe even more so than when I started watching you like a year ago or something.
Well, I haven't been making the videos for a year. It's only been, this is 10 months.
Oh wow, that's pretty close then. So. I think I caught up on your channel pretty early on your process. I think I feel like there's some. I think you can feel that as well, of course. Like it feels like you're already by this short amount of time been coming so far on your journey in a way. Maybe like not physically how things are going. I don't know anything about that, but like mentally or something. And I really thought I need to mention that because I really admire that, and you're like an inspiration of sorts.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I feel like I'm just kind of being. I mean, it's hard to kind of be yourself on video. Yeah. And I think I'm becoming more comfortable with the camera, even more so in the last couple of months, or even the last month or whatever. Yeah. With that, I mean, I think anybody that knows me in real life, I feel like the last few videos are kind of more of a representation of myself than some in the past. But so I've been like this for a while. It's just like, now I'm gonna throw it at YouTube or whatever. So yeah. I wanted to say, what was it like growing up in Sweden?
Wow. Where to start? It's almost like I don't know. I think in like I'm 26 now. I think it was overall, if you look at how Sweden's looking right now compared to back then, it felt like more of a safe place. It's not like it's absolutely chaotic, like maybe media and so paints it, but there are certainly issues now going on compared to what it was then. So I feel like, except like on a societal level, it was such a nice country to be in, like in every possible way. And there have been some downfalls and degradations since then, sadly. And in my life, I'm not even sure how to. I think all my life, in a way, I've been so much in my own little dream world that it's hard to even say how the difference. I don't even know. If I lived in, for example, Canada, I don't know what it would be, how it would play out differently in many ways. But what I can say, it's like it was. I didn't have to begin with. Now diving deep, directly here. I didn't have a good relationship with my father, for example, which caused a lot of early stress and such in life. So pressure and even trauma and stuff like that. So I didn't see. I feel like, except for me, like growing up and being pretty interested in learning, even studying, learning like languages, spelling, and such a bit earlier than most people. I feel like I was on some. How do people answer? How is it growing up in the US, for example? I was thinking how. I'm not good at answering normal questions, I think. It's like I get stuck in a conundrum of, yeah, that's a weird thing. Okay, to cut it short, Sweden is overall a great place to be. You have a lot of choices of whereas you can head in life in regards of work, education, and since I don't know, growing up, is it like 10 to 15, even earlier maybe? Then I don't even think, okay, I live in Sweden, it's this way compared to another place, if so to say. So it's hard to explain, but I love playing sports. I love learning. I was pretty competitive when I was younger. I'm not as much anymore. When it comes to sports and so on, now I'm more like I can compete and appreciate people competing, but more for the sake of their own will and getting better themselves, more than being better than someone else. I think it was something like that before that, where I needed to not prove myself, but I wanted to be good at things. I was very much almost like perfectionistic in a way, in that regard. I had a lot of energy when I was younger. Well, I kind of do now as well, I guess. Fleeting off into various. It's almost sometimes, MBTI-wise, that I'm almost considering. Am I how developed is my NE? Rather, it's like I can always get into different kind of perspectives all the time. They're just flowing out. Growing up in Sweden. The country itself was good. I think the winters are a bit too long for my taste. Just thinking of the weather, I've been. I don't know. I like warmth, and I like a period of having. So I like some Christmas feels and stuff like that. But I'm not a fan of having like 5 to 6 months of pretty cold weather. I don't know. I get kind of frozen, if so to say, and I love being outside. I love feeling the energy of nature, the sun, and people are being more happy and outgoing, and so it has its plus and minuses, if so to say, living in Sweden now as well.
Well, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, obviously it isn't Sweden, but when I was in Washington State, for whatever amount of time I was there from August to like June or the end of May. And it was probably not as cold as Sweden gets, but it got to be like 10 months of weather that I don't know Celsius, so I'm just gonna say in Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I don't know Celsius, but for Fahrenheit, it's like 40 to 50 degrees, 50 something degrees, which is I feel like pretty cold.
40 degrees, I think. Wow, you got me interested right away. 40 F in C. Did you say like 40?
And also would do drizzles of rain all the time, and it was really cloudy, well, it was always foggy and misty, so.
Okay. Well, and how does that differ from where you live now, weather-wise?
So now,
I can relate that.
now I live in South Carolina, which is in the southern U.S., southeast of the United States. Washington is in the northwest, and then so it's like basically diagonal from each other in a way. So right now, I mean, it's pretty cold. It's like it gets into the 30s or 40s or 50s degrees Fahrenheit. But when it's the summer or even the spring, the summer it can get into the 90s, 80s or 90s or even 100 degrees. So
yeah, it actually does sound somewhat like I live in mid south or something of Sweden, a bit more north than the south, but in a place called Gothenburg. It's like the second biggest city in Sweden, and I think here compared to in the north of Sweden, it's not as the differences from like winter, spring, and so on. It like over there in the north, it can get down to, I don't know, minus, what would that be in Fahrenheit? At least minus 20 to 30 degrees, which would be maybe, how do you say when you go under in Fahrenheit, when it's like.
So I don't really know. I mean, there's a calculation of sorts, but in Fahrenheit, so Fahrenheit is freezing is at 32 degrees, I'm pretty sure. I think it's 32 is at freezing. For Celsius, I know 0 is freezing.
Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. 30. Okay, well, how do you even say minus in Fahrenheit? I've never.
Yeah, I mean, places in Canada and places in the U.S. does get to minus something, so it's really cold when it does that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, the weather aspect is, it's so beautiful in Sweden, though of course, there are many places I wanted to see the whole world. But the shifts between like spring to summer and now as we had from autumn to fall, it's so beautiful. And those are the times, when it's switching seasons. That's except from the summer, it's the best aspect of maybe for everyone, actually, not only Sweden, but I just love how it's so mesmerizingly beautiful here when those times are here. So that's something I really like. Hey, by the way, where are your beautiful animals? Where's the dog? Where are the cats?
So right now, so I'm in the room. I have the door shut. So they are not, I mean, I can call them forth if you want. I can call them in. By the way, I looked up, it is 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing. And so, but yeah, do you want me to get them?
Yeah, I would love to see them. It's kind of funny actually that I also have 2 cats and 1 dog. Or is it? It's 2 cats, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I have like the exact same one dog and 2 cats as well. Sadly, I can't show that. We should have a cat and dog party next time.
Yeah, that would be fun. If you want, have you looked at the chat yet?
Wow, I was thinking about it before the interview, but I kind of forgot about it now.
Yeah, if you want to do that while I go get them, I don't know how long it will take, but
yeah, it sounds like
answer the question.
Yeah, we can try it out. Wow. Okay, that's a lot of comments already. Hello, guys. Namaste. It's so it's so interesting how I forgot to say this, but I've never in my life before been interviewed in this sort of way. So kind of brings a new context to how, and it's also very interesting. Hello.
Hey.
Did you find any of them?
Oh, I found Henry.
Oh.
But yeah, keep on going. I just heard you said you had never been interviewed in this way before.
Yeah, exactly. I've been when I was oh, it's so cute. I think you said he was like an ESFP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Henry is. I mean, again, because people always ask, even when I say it, he's a Chihuahua poodle. So he's half Chihuahua, half poodle. So he looks very interesting.
It kind of makes sense, actually. Okay, I can see how that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What was I talking about? Yeah, I've never been interviewed in this sort of way, so I thought, and also the reason probably till that I somewhat, at least unconsciously, waited it out a bit before I wanted to try it out before, and also you have also inspired me to want to try to do my own interviews myself. So that's something I really appreciate as well. Just for the sake of growth and also connecting with like different kinds of people, even like-minded people from various places in the world. I find that very fascinating. So I thank you for opening up the possibility of doing that in my own head, in my own life. Anyway, the only kind of live-ish interview I had was when I was, of course, now the Swede is talking about Volvo here, Volvo cars. I was going to have this interview for a job there and education. And then it was some type of live thing, but it was live for the participants who want to have the job, but it was something that you clicked send later on. So this is like completely different, and in some weird way it feels like I know you're on the other side of the world physically, but it's almost somewhat like you're like you are closer here. I can, you know, feel that energy wise in my body. It's like tingling of some kind.
I know what you mean. I mean, it does feel more
presence.
Feels more intimate.
Yeah, and especially, yeah, it's I don't know. It's so interesting because I know I get very energy like and such if I am overall if I am with people or hang out with people that where we share a lot of things, where we, I don't know, it's something special with that. And with some type of people, I still feel my ego reacts to how the differences between us, like some sort of people, might make me more adjust myself. I guess that's maybe some FE thing going on there, where I adjust myself to the temperament and the energy of the room or how the person is feeling. And then, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm kind of leaving that behind, more and more becoming my, as I feel like you are as well, becoming my more self, not adjusting as much to other people, not in a almost self-deprecating negative way, which has been somewhat a part of my life before. I think it's kind of a big part for many like INFJ people overall, actually, especially as they are young. It depends, of course, on so many situations and your social conditioning and so many things. I forgot. I did not get into the comments. Or what is it? I just, that it's like neglecting the extroverted sensing right away. I do that all the time when I'm in my head or when I'm talking. Yeah, maybe you can be the one who controls that, because I feel like if I, how do you even do that? I guess maybe you got somewhat used to it by now, but in the beginning, your first interviews.
I think I am. Oh no! Echo.
Is it echo? Is it? Are you sure it's from your end?
Maybe.
We can try it out. In worst case scenario, maybe I can find. I know I have some computer headphones. Actually, now I didn't hear anything weird from your. Now it's quiet again. Before, when you put them in for like a couple of seconds, I heard myself, but now it's fine. Is there still echo for you?
I don't think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. It's a bit.
Okay, good.
It's okay. The sound is a bit weird compared to before. I think it was more clear.
Really?
Okay.
Here, let me try taking it out again.
Can try. Since I use a program, I don't know how to set like the settings for the mic sensitivity and so on.
Yeah.
When I use like things like Skype, or for example, then I know even if I use speakers like right now, how to adjust it so it doesn't overreact or whatever.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's not doing it right now, so maybe we're good.
Okay.
I'll take control of the comment section as far as looking at the questions. I am more used to it, obviously. I mean, I've done a few of these, so I feel like I've become accustomed to it. I do like this question. It's just a really silly question that Squareheart, aka Andrew, asked. He said, "Have you ever shopped at IKEA?"
No, never happened. I don't know what IKEA is. Yeah, well, to a serious note, yes, I have. Yeah, I think it's kind of. It feels like it's not avoidable if you live in Sweden. I know it's such a. There are a couple of these warehouses. I think you call it warehouses, right? In Sweden. Well, there are in other countries as well, but there's so much you can buy there. So I've been to IKEA. Have you, by the way? And have you guys in the show?
I have. I feel like a lot of people in the US and probably Canada have been to IKEA.
Well, is there something that someone outside the US and Canada might know of that is somewhat the same thing as IKEA? I know there's something called Sears, right? But maybe that's Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, Sears isn't going to be a company for too much longer, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure they're going away. They used to be a huge company. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they went into bankruptcy and they are on the outs. But I would say, I mean, yeah, I don't know actually what would be equivalent to IKEA in the US, but we do have a lot of different big superstores, like obviously like Walmart.
Oh,
Target,
that. I've heard Walmart quite a lot actually. I was actually looking for something, and I tend to research a lot of stuff before I find it. And I came into Walmart. It was pretty weird. It wasn't like, what do they have on Walmart? Is it like a variety of things, or is it more like, because in my head before I came into that website, I thought it was more like food and like easy everyday store thing, but maybe there's a lot of more things at Walmart.
Well, yeah, Walmart has basically everything that you want.
Okay.
I mean, Amazon, I guess, as well, but I mean, it's not like there are physical stores of Amazon, but they're not like the same. Hey, you are such a disgusting dog.
What is it?
I'm not even going to say what he's doing. Ugh, he's so gross. You little poop. You are such a poop.
Let me guess, he's humping the, I don't know what, because I don't know what's in the room, but he's probably doing something funny.
No. I wish that's what he was doing.
Oh, it was worse. Okay.
No, he was, I'll just say, he was chewing underwear. So he just destroyed a pair of underwear.
Okay, I'm sorry for the underwear, but...
Yeah, he is a very gross little baba. Bad boys.
Right into it.
You're baddest boys.
It's so funny. I have this, it's like a small dog, and I have this huge, this huge dog, actually. I think I have to sometime make a video of, like, I love animals so much as well. It's so clear that you do too. I can just sense that by watching your videos. It's like such a deep connection to your animals, and I feel like they, you know, for example, the way. How are you? Have you thought about that, by the way, in regards of animals compared to other people? Like how you feel like you treat them, and how compared to many other people? Because around me, I feel like many people, at least, my INFp best friend is like very intimate and feely with his cat. But like for my own family, for example, or many other people, they are not as like passionate. For me, they're like absolutely friends. It's like no, they are friends, very close friends to yourself, like close to your heart, and not just something that you. I don't know, like my stepfather, for example. By the way, an ESTP, but doesn't really matter. It feels like he wanted to have this dog, but he doesn't. Oh, and I guess he loves it in his own way and such. But it feels like he doesn't care and value it the same way. Like right now, I'm not working, but when I have been working, the first thing I would do, of course, is to mind the dog and say hello to it and hug it and everything when I get home. But instead, I feel like some people are somewhat disregarding how much of a it's a beautiful thing to have animals in your life. They are so pure and they are so loving. So I was pretty much wondering, how do you feel about that? Have you noticed some contrast between you and some other type of people in that way?
Yeah. No, I definitely, well, speaking of animals, I think Henry wants to get out of the room. But yeah, I have always noticed that with people, other people. So like I've always had a passion for animals in the sense that I see them as like, I see Henry, Fleur, Pumpkin as like a sibling rather than like my pet. And I mean, I guess around other people, I'll be like, oh yeah, my pets or whatever. But I really I really regard them as a sibling or a family member. And yeah, I mean, I hug and kiss my animals, and I talk to them. I feel like I do have a really good relationship with them. Whereas other people see animals as kind of objects or accessories. I've always seen them as something more. Which, by the way, I'm gonna let Henry out because he's doing naughty things now.
Do what you have to do. Indeed, my cat won't stop bringing gifts. Oh, see how what kind of gifts can that be? what could that be? Henry's violating something. Wow, yeah, that's brutal. Hello, Joey. Classic INFPs with a cat. I can totally imagine he's like so into the even my INFP best friend. His cat doesn't like to be held up. It's so it's so weird. I think just because this is a first time experience of sorts, like usual, my English is falling short as F right here. It's like because it's a new experience, I tend to complete whatever it is, even if it's work, if it's whatever it is, I completely lose myself in. I believe, especially in writing, my English is very. It's decent for not being American or English speaking natively, but it's so funny. I observe it in myself how much it becomes. I kind of lose track and can't find the words, if you know what I mean. But just because it's not my. That's where I fall short. I can totally tell, and I noticed that when I've been on trips to like Greece and Turkey and such. Spain, when I'm about to speak English, it doesn't always go the way it does if I would normally speak it by myself or with another Swede or something for fun. It plays a. I wonder why that is. Yeah, I just got into very weird. You're doing.
I think that I mean, people have said this in the comments, but I think you're doing really well. And I mean, obviously I can tell because you have like a Swedish accent when you talk. But other than that, like, I mean, you've seen my videos. I am a native English speaker and I still don't know how to speak English. So.
Yeah, well, I've noticed a couple of times when you can't come up with a certain word, or maybe says the wrong word before you say the other. But well, that I feel like that can happen to many people. But you know, I've been noticing there's something funny about. I can't probably explain it thoroughly here, but there's something with INFJ sometimes in speech, you know, that doesn't really go all the way through all the times. Not only like losing train of thought, but it's like we can almost get ahead of ourselves and such because our thoughts can be so fast compared to the way we speak. So it's like, I really right now notice that I have to almost think about how I talk when I usually speak English in very fluently normally overall, I would say.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that. Like, as far as, I feel like, again, I'm not always the most eloquent speaker, and I think about a lot of things at once. So it is hard. It's difficult. I think what you said about writing, I find that I am better at expressing myself through writing as well. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it is an INFJ thing.
Yeah, it seems like it. I've gotten the overall picture of that being as such since I found this whole MBTI thing and the INFJ stuff. And I think INFJs are actually very nice performers if they are some in regards of speaking and bringing about a message, talking to people in a very nice way. I think we have a lot of things to bring to the table, but maybe if it's more unprepared or some confrontational in a way, I feel like that's when, or something new, I feel like that's when the problem, at least what we feel on our end, can arise. Other than that, I feel like we have a great way with the words and connecting with people by connecting with people.
Well, I wouldn't be too self-conscious about the way that is, because again, I think all of us, well, anybody that can speak English understands you completely. And I do want to get back to being an INFJ. When did you first discover that you were, like, when did you figure out that you were an INFJ?
It was maybe you have seen his videos as well. It doesn't upload sadly anymore. The first one I came across was last summer, 2017. Tom Davison. It was the first video I ever saw, and it was the first. I remember I opened up I can't lack of SI here, sorry people. I can't remember exactly how it came about, but I remember I opened YouTube, which I do pretty often. And the day before had my sort of spiritual awakening thing, so it didn't feel like a random thing, you know. The day after, I found a video of his, I can't remember what it said, I clicked on it, and for the first time in my whole life, I felt myself in another person. And I even looking back today on Tom Davison on his videos, I was absolutely mind blown. I always felt, even though I always had like friends, family, I wasn't alone externally. I never felt like there was something or someone like myself. And of course, that doesn't mean that all INFJs are the same. I think most of us know that. But like the core of the psyche structure, it was so... Even to this day, I picked up some videos from him again. I haven't done that for a long time. I missed out on some when I found him. And it's still so relatable. It's so relatable to me in many ways. But he has a brilliant, beautiful accent, unless I compared to me. But you know, in the way of yeah. So it was last year in the summer, and that was I don't know. It was absolutely mind blowing, as I said. Since after that, I've gotten so much more into this journey of understanding myself and other people and life. Before that, I felt very, very different and in a way alone in myself. But other people never knew it. Hard to explain better right now. It was amazing. I'm very glad that I found out about it. Then I got, like many people do, I guess, pretty obsessed with it as well. I want to learn so much about it and how it relates to my own experience. And the more I learned about it, and I still, to this day, even though I've been going pretty hardcore at it, I figure out more and more things that correlates with so many things of myself and other people. So it's for someone who really cares for humanity and people around the person, it's very valuable. I'm so glad, and I don't know, blessed in a way that I came across the MBTI system, if so to say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of. Oh no!
What happened? Oh, it's going. I wonder.
Okay. Oh wait, I don't think it's doing it right now. That's
maybe
really
it's
weird.
just for short. Is it gone again?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think as far as like discovering our types and stuff, I think it can be very transforming, especially when you type correctly, because again, people mistype. But yeah, I really like Tom Davidson as well. It is unfortunate that he is not uploading anymore, and I do agree it would be really interesting to interview him actually.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how to contact him. But yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah. I don't know how you would get a hold of him either. From what I can remember, he doesn't use like Facebook and such anymore. So, and I'm not sure if he's even looking at his channel every once in a while. Did you try to like message? Can you message someone via YouTube? I think you can, right? Yeah, I think I've probably done that. Did you try that with him?
No, they did away with the messaging a while back.
Okay.
They did away with it like a month or two ago. Yeah, I've had people say like, "Oh, message," but you can't message people on YouTube anymore. From the best of my knowledge, there used to be like where you can message, and I think some people messaged me. I never saw the messages because I don't know. But
maybe you didn't look in that area of the YouTube website. I didn't, even know that you could message someone until pretty recently. Lack of introverted sensing here again, so I can't remember when. And now you all of a sudden said that it's the function is gone. So yeah, it's pretty hard to connect with some people that you find some interest on. In this case, interviewing, if you can't reach them elsewhere. But he was a very interesting, fascinating guy, and he was having I could totally see that he had this beautiful path coming, and it would be so nice to see where he's been since then, what's happening since then.
Yeah. Okay, so now that you know, since you said you discovered that you were an INFJ in 2017, that's very recent. When like looking back or connecting the dots backwards of your life, how do you think you were? I mean, I know you said that you had a lot of energy when you were younger, you were competitive in sports, but how would you say you were maybe even as a teenager or even closer to the age of 26? How do you think you've developed?
Wow. Just for context here again, do you mean the development from 18 to 26, or before that, in contrast to being in adulthood?
Whatever you want to say. It could be, you can talk about, I mean, it could be like a two-part question in a sense. Talk about how you were kind of growing up into teenagehood, and then talk about how you have even changed the last few years.
Yeah, okay. I see. Okay, well, so starting off from being very young, or in the younger years, I had a very easy time learning overall, and it felt in a way kind of effortless. I've had a way with words, learning English pretty early on. But in regards, you know, and that is sort of competitiveness, but I think that when I think about that nowadays, I think it has something to do with being kind of pushed by my father and stepfather early on to be like not a performer, but that I have to perform or be good, or that I have to be something when so I think it could have come from that. But other than that, I think it can be some INFJ thing too. Overall, I noticed, like I said, I think I said at least a bit earlier, I always felt different. It's just an easy way of putting it. I always felt different from other people. There was never a period of time that I can remember where I didn't have friends, or I wasn't like bullied or stuff like that. And I still, and what I caught up from the world and the outside, and how they're, from an early age, maybe even as I can remember, 7 to 8 years old, yeah, somewhere around there. I remember that I even back then questioned, not always out loud, but that as well, questioned adult people about how they were treating others and how things worked, how the teachers were. I was like somewhat rebellious, especially from, that's also a bit of a gap to fill there, how we have the school system here compared to in the US. We go from like elementary school is from year 1 to 9. You have 10 years in elementary school, right?
Wait, 1 to 9?
Yeah, we go 9 years in elementary, then we get to college, and then the university time kicks in.
Maybe then I wouldn't call it elementary school, because elementary school means, so elementary school or primary school, I mean, most of us say elementary school in the US is kindergarten through 5th grade.
Right.
And then you have, yeah. So you kind of incorporate you incorporate up until the first year of high school in most places in the US, because middle school would be typically at 6th grade through 8th grade in the US. And then high school is 9th grade through 12th grade.
9th to 12th, wow. Holy wow, we go through this school life from very early on in our age till we are grown-ups. It's kind of, well, now we got a lot of thoughts of that. It's kind of weird and indoctrinating, to be honest, in many ways, how the school system works. But let's maybe not dive into that right now, following along with the question. Yeah, well, I had a very easy time learning. I pretty much had, I think I don't want to sound like something. I always had the best grades overall in my class, even more so than those who were actually studying a lot. I did some studies because I wanted to perform, but not a whole lot. And my INFp best friend, he didn't do too well. He didn't like the atmosphere. He was also very he was also very much feeling. Oh my god, I got so many flashbacks right now. Some fun times when he walked past where the school was. His mother lived on the left side of school, his father on the right side, and we could sit in the like chemistry class looking out from the making like experiments and stuff, and we could see him thinking maybe he's late or something, but no, he was just passing through the neighborhood, walking from his mother to his father to go sleep at another place where his parents wouldn't find that he was not going to school. Anyway, yeah, competitive. I learned a lot easy, and how I felt overall in school and at home, I felt like I somewhat still do. So I think the inner child is somewhat not too happy with how humanity treats each other overall. I've been somewhat upset and worried about many things, because I've seen and interpreted things by in ways that people couldn't necessarily understand, especially not at a young age. So when I actually started learning things in recent years, 2-3 years, and especially since MBTI, when I could more understand how I could use my way of logic combined with intuitive aspects to actually make sense to other people. So I was not very, I think something in me felt like the real me was often neglected, but that was because I've never, overall, looking at it, I've not been having an easy time to show all of me. And the sad part is that the parts I left out from showing to most people have been until recent years, and now it's just getting better and better. I held back pretty much the best, most energetic, loving parts of myself, because I was somewhat afraid of being so, not only energetic, but so loving and compassionate as I really actually am. And so it's more like somewhat I've held I wouldn't say it's a mask, because I've always been very authentic in a way, but never felt safe sharing the very deep parts of how I function, how I see the world, because people could often interpret, because I couldn't interpret things that others couldn't even conceive of or even understand what it was like, how people were once again treating each other, and how things were, how this teacher was, and people couldn't understand that. So somewhat I had to adjust myself into just playing out more of the traits that fit the surroundings, in many ways at least. And that's something I'm very much giving up on now, in a way. That doesn't mean like someone becomes an a-hole, but more rather that the more authentic you are, and the more you love and care for yourself, which I hope everyone will actually do at some point, and take that path to find themselves truly, because we get so lost in other people's expectations and how other people live their lives according to how society looks, and what our parents want, so what our friends do. And if someone said something hurtful one time, and then you neglect that part of yourself. And that's what I really hope for people not to keep on and on, at least falling into that trap, because it is really a trap. So I think I've been there quite a lot, and I think people have. I've also suffered, actually, getting into all this due to all of these things that I've been seeing, feeling. I think I'm like, what is the term? Highly sensitive, HSP. That really goes along with. And those aspects, I had to somewhat shy away with them all my life, in a way. I thought I had to, at least. But now I know I don't have to, because it's a beautiful thing to experience, basically experience life with almost greater nuances than many other people might do. I'm not sure if that's coupled with the INFJ thing overall, but I feel like, yeah, it's kind of hard to describe, but there are so many things, if I just were to write them down, there would be pages after pages of how my experience was. And I knew it. I really knew it when I was younger as well. I just didn't, like I said earlier, had the words to, and the means to, and maybe even the courage to express all these type of things that were so different from what the status quo was. Yeah, and so that was mainly which in turn led me to once again another INFJ who's been into depressive states and such, anxiety, a lot of that, especially after my I think it kicked off like depression-wise very hardcore when my elder brother died in that tsunami in Thailand, 2004 in the Southeast Asia. That's where I noticed all of a sudden from there on out, I think from maybe, was it 6th or 7th grade? I was 12, 13 maybe. And for so many years onwards, I had this very, not always showing for others, and I had great times overall anyway, and such great experiences in life. But what's been holding me back most of my life has been this depressive and very high tendency of having an underlying and occurring anxiety most of the time inside. Most people haven't noticed it overall in life, and I think that's also a part of why it kept on going for so long, as I didn't even acknowledge it myself. I realized earlier this year actually that I'm not sure if I would be yet still categorized as having it, but I really found that I've been having PTSD since I was very, very, very young, and I was doing some, even had it confirmed, except from just understanding and feeling myself and connecting to it by reading about it. I did this quantum test of sorts where you tie yourself to electrodes and everything, and they can check your subconscious mind, and on a cellular level, your stomach, so many things. Very cool, fascinating stuff. Sadly, not in every healthcare system. And there they could see right away that all my issues, how, I don't know how they do it, but they could see right away, and I got the answer right away, that all these issues that I had developed, chronic pain, chronic anxiety and such, it all came from trauma in the beginning. So maybe that's something that is very interesting, which I yet can't figure it out, if it's nature or nurture, that some people, I guess it can be both, that some people are highly sensitive to different kind of things, stimuli and stress, many kind of things, of course. So that has been tying down my potential in life overall, because everyone always, like, people, my friends, my cousins, everything kind of looked up to me most of my life. So I somewhat had this, I don't know, pressure on me. I guess people couldn't see. I don't know, maybe that's the INFJ unconscious mask of not wanting to show oneself vulnerable. I really don't know yet how to bind all these things, tie all these things together. But if I figured out sooner about this, because now, to cut it short, the last year and a half or two, I'm on this, I've decided to be fully on this like healing journey, from just stopping myself from all the nonsense and pushing myself into things that the last years no longer could do due to the high stressors for such a long time, which turned into chronic pain. And it was at 2012, end of that, I was working out a whole lot as well. I've been gymming, playing football, I've been doing many different activities. I love playing music. I still do. I have my guitar here somewhere. But all my passions from 2013 or so had to almost fall into dust, because all of which turned into both mental and physical some kind of suffering. And in the end, last year, I think, I don't know, my ego structure had got to a certain point of too many things, which have never really been too much spoken about with others, sadly. So that's why it came so late. And then I had this, which I mentioned, this sort of completely blowout of a spiritual awakening at a certain moment where everything shifted last July, and I could see things from a completely new. It wasn't only this super powerful, but only this psychological, intuitive thing anymore. Everything. It was like I had downloads of information from like a collective unconscious and conscious from this, both the suffering in the world and how things work, how beautiful life is, how much there is to be grateful for the simple things which I couldn't see before because I was in the illusion of, which it still is even now, as I'm still struggling with these things in part. But now I know and can separate from what is elusive in nature, which, suffering and such, it's 95%, it's like documented now, 95% made up by your own mind. So it's only ourselves as human, basically, except the 5% where we have external things coming, like infections such. We cause our own suffering, but we don't know about it. So that's what I've been doing my whole life, basically. And that's what I started to understand from that point and going forward. And from there on, I am not anymore like this sort of a victim. I can't possess that victim mentality anymore when I have an awareness that goes beyond the. Sadly, it's not there all the time yet, but it's a process. Yeah. This keen awareness of that there are so many things we believe to be true that we're scared of, that fears that stops us from being ourselves, living life fully and totally exploding into full-fledged life. So yeah, so I would say, like, in short, I've been overall high performer, had way too much pressure on myself, somewhat possibly even on others. I think maybe other INFJs can relate to the fact that maybe we project our own high standards onto other people as well. Maybe not knowingly, but in a way we hope to be embraced or treated the way that we feel like we treat others, or that they deserve to be treated as human beings and other animals. Like all the suffering, most of the suffering in the world, how we treat it, like it's an absolute show how we neglect our fundamental needs in pursuit of an external happiness, which only can come from inside. So yeah, it's a lot of realizations nowadays. That it's pretty much that's what it's all about. And coming back to like you, Wences, and other people too that are not INFJs, and I noticed you have been coming more into that lately as well, which I mentioned before the interview. Like, you really acknowledge how important the self-love aspect is, and to find yourself and actually sit with yourself, forgive yourself, and not only try to be in the belief of that you can find happiness externally. It can only come from within. Like everything we ever experience only comes from within. Everyone sees you in a different light. Everyone sees me in a different light. So there's so many things to that. I wasn't really aware of that before 2017. Also before, what also totally fucking broke me. Oh, sorry for swearing on the channel.
Okay, sorry. I feel like people, I think it's echoing, but I feel like people think that I don't cuss. I do cuss.
You do? Yeah. Oh, right. You actually said that in a video I watched today. Was it a video or was it a... Yeah, it was. You said something about that you try to do it a bit less. You said maybe it was a video from yesterday, or maybe it was the one from today.
I think it was from yesterday. Yeah, I got into a bad habit of cussing. Like I say I say fuck all the time. I say shit. I say like I would say I say fucking shit the most.
Those. those are probably the two most used cussing words for me as well. It happens too much, you know, and even that is if you it's a lot of it can be a fun thing, but even if we want to manifest the reality we want to experience in life, you know, everything, the words we use outside also reflects the inside, you know. Nothing is taken away. Energy is just energy. So if someone goes, for example, just watching, which I also did for many years, me and my friends when I was young, we were watching a lot of like horror movies, and I was interested in the violence that happened in the world even at a young age. Not interested, I was more, I was scared and wanted to know. I don't know really, but what it was, wanted to know so many things about it, and it shaped me into a somewhat a fear-based reality, you know. And now when I have gotten over and overcome many of those more like childhood fears that I had, it's not real anymore, you know. Movies like The Grudge and thing watching when you're I don't know how old you were, 10, 12, it's like it affects your subconscious mind. So nowadays I only feed if it's something that is off the mind. It should be something of intellectual, influential people in regards of psychology, philosophy, or something that can bind to greater, something that encompasses a thing that can be of value to humanity, instead of just sitting and taking everything in and being with the wrong people. You know, there's so many things that influence us and shapes our reality, how we perceive reality. So I'm more aware now of that, and I'm still not yet free of some of the bad old habits, if so to say. So something like you said in a video, it's like it's a process, and we grow and grow over time, and we just have to have this, which you have like even expressing externally, this consistency with putting up YouTube videos and expressing yourself. And it's so clear, I wouldn't say weeks, maybe the last couple of months, how you developed in that area. It's like you're so much more comfortable with it, and you're bring so much nice things out in there for insights for other people. So I think that most people that are trying to actually realizing that they shouldn't live life according to what someone else wants to, but go by their passion and not have anything external stopping you from doing so, and especially not internal, because we most of the time we stop ourselves from doing things out of fear. So I really admire that in you. It feels like you don't, of course you have fears of plenty, which we all do, so very deeply rooted subconsciously, but it's like going about them instead of hiding from them, where you can grow. It's like so noticeable, even in a few friends of mine who is also on some kind of path of realizing themselves. The energy is rising from, I can feel they have another type of presence from being around them. My INFp best friend, for example, again, we've been feeding off of each other's positivity and perceptions and experiences in such a good way that we have like grown with each other along the path. And you can't really do that if someone isn't resonating with you anymore. I've outgrown so many people that I realized wasn't good for me, and they weren't good for themselves either. And it just goes so far to a point. I had 3 relationships, which on my end, well, it was pretty serious relationships. I don't think relationships should be serious in that regard, but depends on how you see the context. And it was all of them were with girls that were absolutely not in a good place. And I'm not sure if I was either, but I never treated anyone bad. Actually, I really didn't, even at that point. But of course, getting into contact and in intimacy with, even in close friendships with certain people, it's like you're a magnet to certain people. And I was a magnet to narcissists, and one of them might have been some type of sociopath, or at least absolutely crazy, traumatized, borderline narcissism, and it tore me down so damn much, and I tried to fight so much and tried to save and be the. I saw the potential, I saw the beautiful things in a person. I saw it in all of them, especially like the last two, and especially the last one. But she destroyed me, and she destroyed everything basically in a way around her by not being aware of what is causing all the distress she's having. So it's projecting onto others. And to example, for an empath, which I somewhat see myself as, but I don't identify with it more than that of the ego, because we are not any kind of label at core. But it's so very often that people attract something that is a match, even if it's a negative one, with how they are living their, how they are feeling subconsciously. So it's so important for people to really start valuing themselves over others. So that's a big rant.
No, I think you're. Why is it echoing?
Oh, is it on again?
It's echoing. Let's see. Okay, it's not echoing now. Oh, right.
Oh, it's going away pretty fast.
I think it like echoes when, I don't know, if I haven't talked for a while, I think it echoes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did want to note on that. I feel like I can relate to the relationship thing. Kind of being with people that I would say almost, well, not every single guy that I've dated, but a good majority of the guys, or a good plurality of the guys that I've dated, have had some type of issue in some way. And it does make me evaluate things a lot. It's like these demons, and they don't realize how big they are in their lives. Like, I dated this one guy, and I mean, this was like years ago, but he wouldn't wake up until like 3 p.m. if I wasn't around him. And I just felt like that was like, he basically wasn't living his life. He was kind of, he would wake up at 3 p.m. and then watch Netflix until like, I don't know, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And then that would be his life, unless he was working or something. Yeah. And I found that really sad. But yeah, people, I have realized, I mean, I get out of relationships quicker than some people. And I mean, there's always a reason for that. And I don't want to do that in the future, but if there's certain things, like you were saying, if you're feeling like someone's bringing you down, and maybe it's not really them doing it something to you, yeah, but like if their lifestyle is not positive, you have to kind of know when to get out. And luckily, I feel like I know when to get out. But unfortunately, I paint a picture of what that life will look like with that person. Yeah. And it kind of engulfs me, and then it's hard in that respect. But yes, you have to be very careful, because appearances are not always what they truly are, like what the reality is. I'll just say that appearances are not. Yeah. Anyways.
That is so true. I really connected with that. Yeah, it's so true. I know personally myself, as you said, that with being up very late in the evenings and such. I've been in periods like that myself, but I feel like most, and that was especially due to like depression, or for times where I didn't have like work or something. I'm more of a night owl compared to a morning person. I think that's due to conditioning as well, if I'm gonna be honest. But I feel like many people that does that, like that type of having that type of trend go like on and not, it feels like many of those people don't have or know their passion, or that they or feel like a calling, like, no, I can't just do this. Might be some people watching now as well, who's in some kind of what they conceive or perceive as a rut in their life. But I could never in my whole life, even all through like struggles and things which often was very dependent on external things, human beings that I surrounded myself with. It really tore me down, but I never could be the type of person who I could never even sit for, to be honest, I couldn't sit for a day and just not do anything. It feels like I always have to do something, not necessarily just to better myself, but that's probably the core of it, like to rise above the so-called problems and the negative feelings and such. But it feels like some people just, like my neighbor here, for example, they are a perfect example. They are watching TV every every single time I somewhat walk past the room where they have their TV. It's always on. It's like, it's nothing wrong for people if they watch TV. I feel I can't do that anymore. I haven't done it for years, but because it's just programming you into doing the same thing all over again. And that's what's happening there. So I totally see, and I've seen that in friends that I've had to let go of as well. And I had to let go of that ex in the end of 2016, which also led up to that sort of spiritual awakening due to that my ego was so crushed. I literally felt for a couple of weeks that I was physically and mentally dying from how bad I felt from, it's so devastating how much certain people can affect you, especially if they have these type of tendencies. Leaving a relationship or leaving something behind that you had some deep passion for trying to really, because I can't half-ass doing things. If I care for someone, if I go into a project, whatever it is, I have to do it fully and with my whole heart. So it's very, very tough, and it's been very, very tough to let go of these people, because I empathize I've always in these cases empathized more, almost even more with their side of the story than my own. So it felt like how she is suffering now. And then my ex, for example, last ex, I knew that's where I started to realize as well that I'm absolutely not like most people, not in regard of what I'm talking about, but how I could understand what her problems was and how that was projecting. I mean, that was before I started to understand these things with the subconscious, unconscious, and what we project energies, and that I just knew and felt so badly how everything played part in her and my story, and why I possibly met her and fell in love with her, and all these things. It all goes together. Yeah. Huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got me into the whole. Yeah.
What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just thinking that from what you were saying, it got me into a whole bubble of things that I came to think about after you were talking about that. Wow. Yep, I got caught up.
Do you hear the train in the background?
Yeah, I do. Do they usually do that, or is it if someone is close to the rails?
What was that?
I mean, the train was, what's it called?
The tracks?
Yeah, I was thinking if someone was on the track or something, if they just do that for fun. the drivers.
I think they always do that, yeah. I mean, they have to be careful because people will walk on the tracks.
They do. Or do you mean where they shouldn't, or at the?
Yeah, where they shouldn't. So it's just to ensure, or just like ensure that it could be an animal, whatever, just to make sure that like whoever knows that a train's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, relationships are tough. It's like I kind of want to talk about this past relationship in some ways, because I feel like it would be helpful, but I also don't want to, just because out of respect of him and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting when you, because I put myself completely into things as well. And I think that's why I've had like 2 instances with unrequited love, and it was such a hard thing for me to get over. But yeah, it's so, and the thing is, I become very definitive when it's time to end things, and this just doesn't just have to do with the previous relationship, but I don't typically date. I don't go back to the same person again
Yeah.
after I've realized that it doesn't work, because there's a reason why that conclusion was made.
I totally see what you mean. And I think I'm the same way in that regard as well. When it's finally decided to let it go, or well, drop it, there's a reason or many reasons as to why that came to be. It reasons also for me the last relationship, romantic relationship, that is. It just reached such a point. It was just I couldn't even see her. I could barely even write back to her, and then I just felt so. I could really see what my intuition told me in the beginning of in this case at least, in the beginning of the relationship. I felt that I had an intuitive feel the first 2 weeks, maybe not the first time we saw each other, but it was probably there deep under. I could feel that this is probably not gonna last, but I can't. We have been talking so long before we met, and pretty much fell in love right away, since we've been writing and talking so much before, and had a nice time the first time. But I felt so strongly inside me that those manipulative tendencies that started so early, and it became like dramatic from out of nowhere. I'm not a fan of drama or unnecessary confrontation if someone doesn't deserve it, but she was so scared of things, and so she had to act that out and project that onto others. It was so obvious with everything around there. So I felt I knew early on that when this is gonna go down, when this is gonna end, it's gonna be like a absolute plane crash. Like it's gonna be very destructive. And something in me knew that, but I didn't listen. So after that relationship, that was the first time in my life that I started taking back taking back myself in a way, and started listening to my intuitive insights or things that pops up for me. I think I'm like probably many intuitive people, or many people overall. I feel like we pretty much neglect that, which some people also call stomach. What is it called? Like stomach intuition, but I think this is a psyche-based one. It's like we neglect that part because it's not rational, or it's not logical, or it's not something not seen. But it's always, when looking back at my life all throughout, it's always been so evident that it was like, from all the things I can remember, it was never wrong. My intuition about things was never wrong, but I always suppressed it, or didn't listen to it. So, but compared to how it is now, after that relationship, after the kind of change in many ways in consciousness, at least, I really started to let the intuition be in the driver's seat, instead of putting it in the back, not having to have a say in anything, basically. So that is something I'm very. So sometimes I feel like things really do happen in a way for a reason. Maybe not in the stereotypical way of saying it, like things happen for a reason, but when someone really goes like deep inside in regards of meditation and stuff as well, to observe your experience, your psyche and your fears and how all things go together, you can really see a track, like how things played out and why. So I think the best thing we can do from what seems like negative experiences and such, it's simply, you can learn so much from them. You can grow so much from them instead of having them beat at you for the rest of your life, which many people do. It's the greatest opportunity when negative circumstances are around. Now I see it that way. I couldn't even think about doing that before, I think. But now it's so clear that I can grow from every single thing that happens. And if I, even especially maybe if it's a negative thing. So yeah, that it serves you in a way, your issues, the things you've gone through, if you really try to allow yourself to feel them and not just shove yourself, your inner child, your true self away all the time, just to, I don't know. I have an ESFP sister, for example. She's definitely ESFP. I'm pretty, I don't want to say these kind of things before I'm pretty sure. I always studied it before for a long time. It's like in her case, who also had this father who was narcissistic and especially emotionally and mentally abusive. I can't even remember. It was lack of memories from many of the first years, so maybe physical as well. I'm not sure. But in her case, it's like when a relationship ends, she's, by the way, also been with people who absolutely weren't good for her, and she, for one, she wasn't good for him either. It's like she rather took on the somewhat negative traits projected that to him. But the last person he was dangerous pure right off, and she couldn't barely leave him and such. And now when she finally did, the first time I meet her after that, and I'm so happy and somewhat relieved, my ego is relieved, that aspect, that wow, I don't need to worry about her in that way anymore. And then I noticed the next time she comes to visit that she already has a new friend with her, which I, of course, since I can read things very, very fast overall, if I want to. I don't really want to, but it happens anyway. It wasn't just they being friends, because the next time we saw each other, which was this weekend, she and him are pretty much somewhat together. So in her case, me being avoidant instead due to these things that happened in the past, she's like going, some people are like fast moving on instead of I was like, I've been trying so much to give her some guidance and wisdom to try for her to make her care for herself first before moving on. So many people hurry into something because they feel so alone by themselves, or they need to fill that gap which is missing inside, and probably has been missing since childhood. It's always linked to when we don't feel whole by ourselves and feel love in ourselves, to ourselves, we try to find that externally. And she's like a grand example of that, even though, yeah, it doesn't serve her. I feel like so many people does that. And in my way, I've been defensive instead after that. Not defensive anymore, but more, not picky either, more aware of what people I want to surround myself with. Quality people who also, especially if they're also in on some type of their own special, unique path of wanting to grow and overcome and be more than what they are. It doesn't have to be like spiritual stuff that I'm very much into, and finding that way, whatever it is that someone is doing. I really appreciate, admire, and get inspired by people who really try, if they don't already, at least trying to do the best for themselves. But most people are absolutely not sure even what's best for themselves. And that's what makes me pretty sad, feeling all these kind of things still to this day.
Well, that kind of ties into the question I was about to ask you. And what would be your like ideal partner in life?
Is that an overall question, or should I did you mean that like MBTI wise and us being off from there, or just overall?
I would not say MBTI.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really like the whole these are the MBTI types that you're good with or whatever. I really don't like it. But anyways, yeah, just in general, what kind of qualities?
Okay, let's see. I almost, in a way, I almost have to actually start with binding it together with MBTI anyway as a source of to get a faster, easier picture of it. I noticed that I have not only an attraction in a physical way or a sexual romantic way, but I love people who are passionate, like adventurous, intelligent, who has a fine source of empathy, like they are emotionally intelligent. I really like that, both in friends and in a relationship of romantic one. I feel, and you know, ENFP people, every single ENFP so far, if you go into that, it's like it flows so almost sickly naturally how when I hang out with them. Even like the first, my mother, for example, is an ENFP. A friend's mother who I know very much. The INFP's mother is an ENFP. It's like we're friends, you know. And I met this other ENFP friend, kind of new friend of mine, and we just clicked so. It got so natural and deep, and she was listening well to me, and vice versa, and it was such a light-hearted thing in a way, and it was so pure. So I want someone who actually loves themselves, who someone who is because you can never love someone else if you don't love yourself. You can believe yourself to do so because you're in lack, but if you're in lack, that will be projected onto the other person. There will be missing aspects. So someone that at least starting to where I can feel that this person is starting to get closer to their heart and who they are, that I find it very attractive in a way where people are good with people. You can tell so easily these things. You know, if you want to be with if you want to be with someone for a long time, I feel compassion. As someone who's compassionate, I can tell if someone is compassionate even with oneself. If one is, it will be projected onto others, and that's so compassionate, empathic. I like intelligence. Of course, in regards of maybe it doesn't need to go into looks. That, you know, the physical aspects, these things somewhat for me comes as a secondary thing. But you know, it's not like okay, you have all these nice mental and emotional traits, but you look like shit on the outside. It's not like that. But I really fall for physical beauty as well. I love the word beauty and what it all entails, and it's not beauty only in a person. There's so much beauty in the world, in so many things. I love people who can express themselves wholeheartedly and be true to themselves. I can really feel that if they are now, at least I'm aware of it. I supposedly weren't before, since I got into people. They were looking nice, like something like you said earlier. Like you cannot trust the outside. The outside is not the truth. You know, it's the inside of the person. So someone who's connected with somewhat connected with the heart, and they have I love passion. It doesn't have passion. It absolutely doesn't have to be passion for me, but that happens by itself. If someone is passionate about life, that's super attractive. That's something I would value in a partner. Someone who's passionate about something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be something that I am doing or anything like that. At first, as you asked it, I came to think of something like an what often is, at least ego-wise, personality-wise, an INFP or ENFP most often. But it really doesn't have to be that. Like you said as well, it doesn't have anything to do with cognitive functions in that regard. Sure, there are some sources and people who are uploading things which I value because I can see it's consistent with reality overall in how this type of person would fit with other, but there are so many other aspects to it. So you can't really, I don't know. I do like intuitive people, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It's not like we have to be copies of each other or have the exact same traits. I think like some people who get into this psychology, personality type things gets over time some sort of bias in themselves. Like I can see it, especially Facebook forums and such. I'm an I'm an INFJ, and I really want to be with an ENTP and stuff, and that's okay. I'm not neglecting their wants and needs, or because I don't know their story or why that is. There's probably more to it than meets the eye when you look at the comments, for example. But just type-wise, like you said, you can't go by type in that way. I wouldn't. No. It's very. I find it. I get an easygoing thing with some type of people though, and I've noticed a trend that they often are, for example, like ENFP. So that's just something that binds together with MBTI anyway. Yeah, passion and intelligence and empathy. I also love if they are into something like art or writing, if it's music, if the whatever it is, if they do something for other human beings. Yeah. So maybe in a way it is, when I say that, it does kind of sound like how I feel myself being inside. So okay.
Well, again, sometimes what you think you want is not always what you need. I think what you said about loving yourself, I think when it gets down to it, so like I could go ahead and list off things as well, but I think really the primary core things are if they do truly love themselves, if they're really working to improve themselves and change themselves in a positive way, because that's something I've mostly noticed. So almost every single guy, well, not every single guy, but the guys that I've dated for the most part aren't like horrible guys or something, but and actually most of them are very sweet people. But actually I think every single one of them that I've dated, I don't think I've ever dated, well, I think I've dated a narcissist before, but
only one? Only, sorry.
At least one. I mean, I don't like to throw that word around. The reason I say that is I told him that the world doesn't revolve around him, and he said, let me stop you there, it does. So
okay, that's yeah.
So I mean, he had issues. I dated this guy in Seattle. I don't know what his type is, but yeah, I have noticed a trend, and I think going forward, which I've said this before, but I'm not really looking to have any kind of romantic relationship in the future. Well, I will in the future, but not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. And I think that's going to be my main component is, do they truly love themselves? And if they talk about, I mean, there's been red flags that I've noticed early on with guys where they're like, oh, I think I'm horrible. I don't like myself, stuff like that. I need to just realize that if people tell you who they are, believe them. And this doesn't mean like, they are like horrible people or trash or these bad people or like whatever, but if someone has this negative concept of themselves, it's going to end up seeping into your self as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, I notice with myself, I think that, I mean, again, teetering the lines, and I feel like it will be a little, it can get specific, but this last week has been pretty energizing for me because of certain things,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But yeah.
Yeah, Oh, by the way, it got me back to the to a question I got into my head just before you started talking, I think. How this day, you know, I was thinking this. You have been dating a couple of people, as I recall by watching your videos. But how have you? I haven't, like, you know, in Sweden, for example, the whole like date thing isn't. It's not like dating in the US, for example, what we've seen in the movies and such from when we were younger, and Hollywood movies, like going on a date in that regard and calling it dating for, like, if in Sweden, for example, if we say that we go for a date, we might do that 1 or 2 times or so for a short time, and that's the date is the. I feel like, for example, when you speak and all Americans speak and say they're dating, they can say they've been dating for a couple of months, you know. But here, you know, like the date is the very event or the app happening here, where so we have like a sort of different dating way here, I guess. And what I was thinking about actually was how have you experienced dating, like being an INFJ personality? I think, you know, overall with the social medias and from what I caught up from others and how I feel myself in regards of dating, I feel like it's hard for me to, even in context of dating and putting it together in the way you term the word over there, I can't. It's hard to date people like compared to my ESFP friend. He's like Tindering like easy on, and he can meet like talking for a day with a girl. Like me and him hanging out on a Friday, for example. And what I know next thing is that he met her, and they, well, he's a bit more physically going into it faster as well.
I mean, I can understand what you mean.
Yeah, it's like he's diving into these things, and I think sensors overall do, going back to that, easier. But I feel like for INFJs, it's like dating is, I don't know, might have some discomfort due to my past relationships and how that ties into it. But I feel even when I was young, before relationships, the thought of, it feels like I can't, it feels like even though it isn't, but in the stereotypical term, dating sounds like it's a superficial thing at first. But in your case, for example, I'm very sure it's not, because you're in for something real when you go at it. But it feels like many people, when they say, oh, we're dating now and we updated this Facebook state, you know, it feels like people are doing it like such a simple, easygoing thing, like just for themselves. I don't know. It's hard for me to date, I think. I can really appreciate and want to be with people, but I don't seek it out the same way that maybe the majority does. So I was wondering, after a 5-minute thing up to the question, how has your experience, experience been with doing so, and in what ways of getting to start dating and actually dating has been like the best or most efficient way? Has it been by meeting the person via social media, or maybe via someone you know, and then get into physically dating before writing? I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like, okay, first of all, I think I mean, in the US, I think we say dating and relationships. Some of that can be interchangeable. So for example, my last relationship, I mean, we all know what his name is, but we were in a relationship. I said dating, but we were really in a relationship, where it was like, I met his family, he met my mom, like, you know, stuff like that. Like it was, you know, we went on dates, but beside the point. I've been in a handful of relationships where it was like, this is my boyfriend, and like I'm their girlfriend. But there's also been guys that I've just dated. So I've gone on dates with. And so for example, the INTJ guy that I mentioned was like dating an INTJ. We were in a relationship, but we dated. We went on dates. And it could have turned into a relationship, but there was a few different factors. But as far as meeting people goes, I mean, so like in college, well, I mean, I can just every single boyfriend that I've had. So I had a boyfriend in high school that I met in high school. He actually was Estonian. And he was like, people were like, ooh, he's so cute and stuff, because he was like 6'5" and just like this really big guy, and people were just like, ooh. And somehow we ended up dating. I say one person was a narcissist. He actually told me like a couple years later that he thought he was a sociopath. So he's probably, you know, in that category. So I dated a guy in high school for like a month. I dated, or not dated, I was in a relationship. My freshman year of college, I was in a relationship with a guy that who is Korean, and he actually was an exchange student at our university, and he ended up going back to Korea, South Korea. And I would actually say he was one of my, you know, favorite guys that I dated. I don't know what his type is. I would suspect probably ESTP or ESFP.
Yeah.
And then, so I met him. Actually, he supposedly watched me the whole year, and I didn't know. Like, he just like would see me around school. I mean, my university, like around campus, and he would just watch. And then he like talked to me, and you know, we dated or we were in a relationship until he moved back to Korea. Then I dated this other guy who was probably not so great for me. I met him through a friend, and that lasted for a good, I don't know, few months at least. And it was really bad because I was his RA. I ended up being his RA. He ended up moving into my dorm after I became an RA. Even though we were dating beforehand. So when I broke up with him, I was still his RA, so that was pretty bad. But yeah, okay. I don't want to go into, I guess, I feel like I'm kind of going into everything.
That's kind of what I felt like I've been doing this whole time.
Well, I've mostly met friends. Well, not friends. I've mostly been in relationships. So I would say high school, met that person in high school. College, it was mostly, I think every single relationship in college, apart from one guy, was either through mutual friends or I met in person. Yeah. The only exception is my mom used to live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I used Tinder, which Tinder's different in the South. I feel like the Southeast, it's not really as much of a hookup app. I mean, there definitely is that part of it, but there are people that want relationships, and I dated a guy from Nashville. So I guess I have been in long distance relationship, but that didn't really seem that bad at the time. But yeah, that didn't last too long. Yeah, and then after college when I moved, well, I did meet this one guy at a conference, and we knew each other for a few months, and then we started dating the next time I saw him again. And then the rest of the people, I guess, outside of college, mostly have been through dating apps, Bumble, yeah, Bumble, and or actually, I guess one guy was in person, and then the previous person that I dated was obviously through YouTube. So I haven't had that extensive. Again, I've been on a lot of dates with different people, some from like dating apps, some from meeting people in person. I don't even know how many guys I've gone on a date with. I mean, it's not like we ever did anything.
Yeah.
But I have been on a lot of dates.
Yeah, kind of.
In my day, I guess.
In my day, I'm 8 years old already. I'm gonna tell you all about it. In my day, well, yeah. So it's been like a mix of like using the tool of social media and some in person, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, who's to say? I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but now I've basically said, if I'm not friends with this person in real life, well, like in person. So like the only people, which again, I don't see any of my friends in this way, but the only people that really have a chance at this point, in my head, are people that live in like my guy friends in Georgia. Those are the only people right now, because I don't really know people in South Carolina yet. I really don't. I need to get out there and be friends with people. But yeah, I think the only people I would even consider live in Georgia, or I guess when I get more involved in South Carolina and meeting people in person, I just have told myself I'm not going to meet people via dating apps anymore, and I don't think I would really want to do super long distance. Georgia I can do because everybody that I know that lives there are like 2 to 3 hours away, so it's like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah, that's manageable. But yeah, I think I'm kind of on the same wavelength there. I feel even more so than ever before that I even like you said, something like actually knowing the person that you might be starting dating or engaging in another type of relationship with. It has to be someone that I already know on how to see how they are as a friend as well. I feel like that's something of great value, because then you, instead of like maybe diving into something or someone that you barely even know and you don't really know so much about the person actually, but if you're friend with the person, from there on out you might, if it's the case that one develops feelings for someone, then you know more sides to that person, like more realistic side, more rather than what most people just want to show to almost get something. I feel like it's otherwise, if you don't really know the person, it's like people have this, even it's like a complete manipulation game in a way. Maybe everyone doesn't do it in a narcissistic way, but in a way everyone wants to, if you meet a new person, it's like you want to be very accommodate and adjust yourself to having this person like you. But if you're friends with the person, you already have some type of, or maybe as an INFJ, I feel like you can have a great picture of who they are and how they are in different scenarios and how you actually know them in different contexts, rather than just knowing them by meeting them in the context of casual dating or something like that.
Well, and it's hard too, like with this last situation, because I felt like I knew him, but I didn't. There were certain things that I didn't know about his lifestyle that I found out afterwards that ended up being something that was not I felt aligned with my vision. But yeah, like as far as like my guy friends go, and again, I don't have any person in mind necessarily, but like all of my guy friends, I've seen them at their best, I've seen them at their worst, I've seen them, you know, I know most of them, I know like their families, their friends, because we share mutual friends, stuff like that. It's like I mean, because we've been friends for so long, and the thing is, it's weird because like with romantic relationships, I have seen a pattern that I basically know when things are not good, and so I'll leave.
Yeah.
But with friends, like, I mean, I guess I just pick way better friends than I do relationships. And I am friends with someone and it's like, you know, it's built on friendship. I'm friends with someone for years and years and years. Like, I don't really do like casual friendships, if that makes sense. Like I will be friends with someone basically forever. If everything like lines up and like I feel like we're both equally in it, if that makes sense.
It very much makes sense. I feel so much the same way there. I am like, as I think you said, casual friendships, right? It just, I don't think I can. It feels like, from in my perspective, especially nowadays, it feels like it might sound to some weird, but it feels like I'm wasting time if I just have a lot of casual friends. Well, you know, back in the years, we did have a group of friends, people who were hanging out, we were going out to clubs, partying and such. I was the first one to get kind of tired of it and see through all the bullshit. But
oh my gosh, literally, sorry, I keep on going, but literally the same thing happened to me in Seattle. Like, it wasn't like we were going out, but we would have these parties. And it just was different because like I would throw a lot of parties in Georgia, like in college, like, you know, I've said this before, but I would have like over 100 people come to these parties. But it was never out of hand. There was no like illegal drugs. Like there was some I mean, when I moved to Seattle, I saw things that I've never seen before. And that's also because I'm very sheltered. But
yeah.
Yeah, those people in Seattle, it was like I saw through it too. Like I could say a lot of stuff about that, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
I got into what you were saying. That's typical me. Like even what was I talking about exactly? Yeah, right. You were going off from. No, I can't remember.
You were talking about you were the first to kind of see through the party people.
Yes, and I feel like something back to the almost old soul feeling like thing that I always felt older and saw things. I think I did that even before we barely even started. The whole alcohol thing, going out, how my friends acted compared to when we were just not partying, and we were like a group for like 2-3 years. We were a group. Well, I wasn't always in it because I was very much into my bodybuilding thing before the chronic pains kicked in and such. I had it, as usual, a passion. I always had a passion for things, so I wasn't always as involved as them anyway, because I wanted to do my own thing as well, not just cling on to what others are doing. But when I was with them, it felt like it's not just with my friends, it's the whole damn atmosphere of the clubbing and everything for people who really often does it. It's like it was so superficial, and I really didn't feel like home, and it didn't feel like, as I said earlier, it's not something like that. Many of these friends, one of them, except from my INFp friend and my ESFP friend that I still hang out with, the other 8 or so, we started not seeing each other as much anymore, and we could totally tell the difference between those who kind of didn't want to grow. I can't say that, but some people, if we meet them again, some of these friends, when we somewhat do, it doesn't happen often, they are the exact same people as when they were 17 to 21 or so. You know, it's like it's like they're doing the exact same thing. The difference might be that some of them are consistently working or have somewhat of career, but their personal life and how connected they are to themselves and others, it's still as, it sounds a bit judging to say, but in lack for a better word, superficial in a way. And that, I don't know, I always felt these things so much. I felt it with, in birthday parties all my life with, it's not like everyone is inauthentic, but it's what I've experienced, like my birthday parties, my cousins, my family and such. It's so much layered things. It's like I never got any meaningful or something that I or the other could thrive on. It's like when the family and relatives were meeting sometimes, especially when we were younger, I could. We kids were like playing, hanging out. I had a great connection with my cousins. We hanged out a lot. But then all of a sudden, as well, they turned more and more into their parents and such at a pretty young age, and that's when I noticed I kind of started disconnecting from them in a way too, because it's like they weren't really. It's like they were completely programmed to what they were, how they were treated to be in childhood. So for them, it was like they got older and I want to say boring. And the other people, my friends, many of them stayed the same, somewhat insecure, going out, have to drink to talk to these girls, which they had to do every damn weekend. And people, I remember when I was younger, some of my friends, especially my closer friends, the others didn't do it as much or in that way, but they could kid with me that I wasn't engaging with I can't say women at that age, with girls in that context, because I always wanted something real, like you were saying, in any connection with friends. If I befriend someone, if I really become friends with someone, it's like you said, something like forever. It should be, from my end, my heart is completely with that person. And if we don't completely grow apart, or if they mistreat that trust and respect for each other, I don't see any reason for me to not keep having that relationship. When I really think about it, I always want to have more like a deep connection with people. And in regards of what you were asking about, maybe not, you didn't say ideal, but a good partner or something earlier, it should be, that person should be completely be a friend as well as being a romantic partner, as we call it. We have to really know each other. It's like that's how I always want to feel with my family and such as well. But they are, which I come to notice more after this spiritual awakening stuff. It's like they aren't either. I can see now why I suffered as a child through my childhood, because I never got received or engaged in such a profound way as my heart always longed for, to have a certain connection with people, which, for example, I have with a very few people now, but I feel like I have it at least. And there's a big difference in how I engage with people. I often want to see them, how and such, if I know that we are matching with each other in a way, like aligning with each other. You don't have to be like each other, but if there's these like core things, there's so much value in that, and I wouldn't like skip out on a person or just leave someone for anything. If I truly get into something, I have passion for it, like I said earlier, and that really includes people. So, like with family members and such, I think the child in me always wanted a much closer relationship. Not only for me, like from what I felt through other people. I always wanted people to be actually more in touch than they superficially on the outside seem to be. And most people don't even seem to recognize that they are actually not as close to each other as they maybe should or could be if they allow themselves to. And that goes back again to the self-love and awareness and sense of wanting to grow as a person, and not condemning oneself for it or judging that, oh, I'm never good enough. That's not what we mean when we say like growing. It's more like, I have this foundation which I can make so much richer, you know, if I just care about myself. And that reflects all your relationships as well. So as you said earlier, I wouldn't at this point either go into a relationship probably anytime soon. If something I feel really clicks with my true authentic self, if someone does, then perhaps that's a possibility, but I wouldn't rush into it ever. Now, knowing what I know and experience what I experience and learn from it. Yeah, so that goes both for friendships and romantic romantic stuff, you know. So I totally agree there. Oh, yeah. I forgot maybe the comments and the viewers again for maybe 5 minutes. I came to think about it during the time I was talking, like, hey, I didn't answer you. Feel bad. Have you seen something?
I think they're mostly in the comments. I think they're mostly just having conversations right now.
Yeah, I've been part of that too in your channel a lot.
Yeah, but
quite nice.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as far as friendships go and stuff like that, I think you covered a lot of it. So interesting how friendships are formed in general.
Yeah.
And how some things work and some things don't. I look at like some of my friends and I wouldn't really think, you know, when I first met them, I guess some people it's like, oh, I really connect with this person. And then there's some people that I'm like, oh, I like them, but it's not like you think, oh, years from now they're going to be one of my best friends or something. And actually, I get really turned off by people. I don't know if you've experienced this. I get really turned off by people when they say, oh, I want to be your best friend. Like, we should be best friends. And like, you just met them. That turns me off a lot, and it makes me wonder.
I totally resonate with that as well. You can feel that something is off when that is happening. It's like, so it's like some people kind of force them, not in a very subtle way then, like force that onto you, like what they have planned or something already, instead of having it naturally happening if it happens. But I can totally feel as well just the same thing, that I can feel if there's like there was this one guy when I was what is it called in Swedish? In English, I mean, in Swedish.
Yeah, just start speaking Swedish for everybody.
Yeah, well, maybe I can.
Like answering everything in Swedish.
Well, we can actually, if there is one question, maybe I could just for the sake of it, for a couple of sentences, say a couple of things in Swedish,
go ahead.
And then rephrase it in English. That could be fun. Yeah, because how does? By the way, do you know how? Do you have a? You can't say picture of something that is a sound, but do you have some sense of how Swedish sounds like overall? Maybe, by the way, you guys in the US, is there in the news and how often does like Scandinavia, like Denmark, Sweden?
Not really. It doesn't.
It doesn't mention a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the US is and they seemingly are as well when you look at things, the main influencer of the whole world in a way. So like in very negative ways as well. But it's like Sweden and many other countries are picking up on what is happening overall. I think it's been for a long time picking up on the trends and such from the US rather than the other way around. It's like the American people, don't hate me, are very much into their own country.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like it I mean, I guess because I was like, I've always been like internationally minded, and like my major in college was international affairs, which is focusing on other countries and stuff. And so I know a lot about the European Union, the Arab League, just like global politics in general. So I think I have a different mindset. And I also was really attracted, not just romantically, but I did date, I guess, exchange students as well. But I really liked people, like I still have friends from countries like all over the world. But yeah, people in the US are 100% that way. Actually, so you can continue on, but I want to say this before we forget. Andrew or Squareheart had such a good idea. I think this would be such a treat for everybody, and it would be good for us because we can just be sailors. How about this? I say a swear word, and then you say it in Swedish.
That's a great idea, man. That's a great idea. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Like swear words, or if there's any kind of word that someone would want to hear. It doesn't have to be a swear word, but anything. You can just ask, and maybe Emily can let me know, and we'll see how it sounds in Swedish.
Yeah.
In the Viking language.
I don't know. Are there any, like, I mean, I'm not really familiar with a lot of, I guess, these kind of things about YouTube, but like if I said like the C word in English or something, I mean, okay, well, I'm not say every single swear word. I'm not going to say the C word. And then obviously there are offensive profanities that I don't even use ever. I don't ever say.
Yeah, same here. There are some, sorry for interrupting. There are some cuss words that I don't like using either, because they are not like, as like we said earlier, shit and fuck. It's like some words are very much aiming towards a certain group or of people and such. That's
well, especially in the US. So like the N word and I would never, I don't even say it when I sing or like, you know, sing a song that has that word in there, because I mean, I know some people will just say it's a word, but I just will never say that word.
Yeah, you know, and feel like the meaning behind it and the context and what it's meant before and how it feels to other people. So naturally don't use things that can really not sit well with a handful of people, I feel.
So do you want to just jump into that? I mean,
let's try. Let's try.
So,
fun ideas.
Okay, how do you say shit?
Skit. Or skräp. Skit, skräp.
So like, is that like shit or crap?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
that sounds kind of similar. That's weird.
Yeah, crap, scrap. Yeah, that makes. I never thought about that one actually. You know, since I read and learn most from people that speak English and such, I often correlate if I can find if I can find a correlation between the Swedish and the English word. But I never thought about that one, and that's okay. Yeah.
Great. Damn.
Whoa. What would that really be in a correct manner? Fan.
Okay.
So damn, like, damn can also be like, yeah, fun probably.
Okay. Let's see. Fuck.
Oh, that depends on context. If it is to actually fuck, or if it's like fuck the swear word. Let's see.
Do both.
Yeah, let's see. Fuck. It sounds so fucking weird. Fuck knulla.
What? Wait, which fuck is that?
That is basically the nasty way of saying.
The act of.
Yeah, instead of sex, it's like fuck in that way. So fuck, I think we have plenty of words for the usual like fuck. But I think you know when I notice this, and that's not even myself only who's learning a lot of English stuff, blah blah blah. I think we often say fuck actually. You know, fuck instead of saying it in our language. So fuck could be in Swedish also, except from the act of effing. It could also be like the word I said before, like fan or like helvete, but helvete is also somewhat is like hell. So, but they kind of go together in a way in how people use them. So,
yeah, I'm drawing a blank for. I mean, I know there's more swear words. I mean, if you just I may not find the equivalent, but there are some just like say a bunch of Swedish swear words, and they could even be like ones that you've already said, but just like say a string of just like a ton of profanities.
Okay. Helvetes jävla fitthelvete också. Jag pallar inte hur sjukt jävla värdelöst, äckligt, dåligt det här är.
That sounded like, to me that sounds like cool. That just sounds really cool, but
that was in the that was in the beginning. I had to say some in the beginning it was basically only swear words, but then I had to bind them in a way together.
Oh, okay.
With a few words in between, but almost all of them were in a negative swear word kind of context.
That's weird.
Yeah, I can. You know, that's something I thought about when I was very young as well. How other people and how I perceive other languages, that of which I don't understand, and how they sound. It can really sound weird when someone. If, for example, I didn't know English, it would sound weird as fuck. I'm just trying to like get the English out. You know, it can sound really weird. How does Swedish even sound? It would be interesting for me to be able to unlearn Swedish for an hour and then.
I mean, I can just, so it's going to be offensive, but I can just like say it right now, like how it kind of sounds to me right now. It sounds like. Like that's what it sounds like to me, like. So that was my interpretation of what Swedish sounds like.
Wow. Hey, by the way, do you want to try to say, I could say a sentence, a normal simple sentence that you could, with your American accent, try to say it in Swedish after me?
Oh no, yes, we can do that.
It's a challenge. Okay.
I'm scared.
It's like I didn't even hear, okay, we can do it. I was like, okay, let's do it. I was like pushing it. Do you want to try?
Yeah.
And see how, okay, I want to use something with a lot of R's because R's doesn't sound at all the same in Swedish. Mess it all up. No. A simple one. Hej, jag heter Emily. Hej.
Jag heter Emily. Hej, jag heter Emily. I don't know.
And not too bad. I could totally understand that. Hej, jag heter. That is. Hey, hello. My name is Emily.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, actually, that wasn't too bad. You know, it's. I could see, like, in a way, in your body language that you that you were. Jag heter Emily, like going back a bit, like when we try to do also like back to that again, like when we try to do something like challenge ourselves with something that we don't have any idea of. It's like we change our body language in a way. Like when I try to come up with some answer, a proper answer in English in a fast way without actually thinking first. It's like I can notice in myself how I don't know how I changed because I tried to get it basically. But yeah, it was pretty good. I can totally understand it. I would like to give you a challenge though. That was ridiculous.
Okay.
Oh, this one. This means no, I'm gonna say it afterwards. Jag äter knäckebröd.
Wait, say it again.
Jag äter knäckebröd.
Jag äter knäckebröd. I can't say it.
Well,
you know what that almost sounds like? Okay, what Swedish sounds like is how English sounds like backwards. If you were to like do a weird backwards English, I feel like for some words, like I've heard things like played backwards, and it almost feels like that. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, I can totally see that. That makes sense. The first two words, you said the first two words pretty well. I understood them, but the other one was that was like KNRLVQRST. Like it's like what I have one of my home baked ones here, just a little piece of it. It's hard bread, like knäckebröd. It's a very weird word. It's spelled like this, and you don't in the English language you don't use these three letters like o, so it becomes really weird and fucked up for you guys to try to say these words, but in an American way, because these three letters are missing, if you so to say, and they are pretty weird. O, these last in the alphabet. I think. Did we see? She didn't. Oh, okay.
What?
I'm a bit catching up to the chat. In sjuksköka sjömän såg jag någon skriva. Is it a Swede here? Is I'm Batman, you suck Swedish? Or have you learned that saying from maybe visiting Sweden or something? It's like it's a tongue twister of sorts when it continues. There is some different tongue twister. He just said the first three words of it, but it can go so far. So even, it gets totally messed up when you try to say it over and over again. You like tremble on your on your tongue. Oh, did I put the...
Oh my gosh! Whoa! It's so creator. I didn't even know this person watched my channel. Hey! Whoa!
Hello.
That's so weird.
I love it.
I would love to interview you, by the way.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's put her in here right now.
Wow. Okay.
We love you as well. How do you know? Do you watch her channel or?
Yeah, I've watched many of her videos.
Wow, that's cool. And you've never seen her in the chat before, or?
No, I've never seen her on this channel ever. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, it's like, whoa, this is so crazy.
That's a nice surprise. I'm a discreet viewer.
What the heck? I hate that. Why?
That's amazing.
I get it. I'm a ghost watcher on her channel too. I don't know if I've ever commented. So
so it's
like right now. I'm really bad at ghost watching like people's channels. Like it's like I feel like I've commented on a channel, and then I realize, oh wait, I've never like interacted with this channel, and I've watched this channel for so long. But yeah, so that's funny.
I totally get what you mean. I do tend actually to comment quite a lot if there's something I'm interested in and such, but I noticed I can see the pattern of what you mean, like that it might seem, how do I explain this? It might feel like you have, because you have interpreted things over time by watching someone's videos for many times, it might feel like you have gotten closer to the person and understand more and such, but the other person doesn't even realize in a way that you exist, since you're not even in a physical way where a comment takes place. So yeah, that's interesting. Ghost watching. I didn't even hear that term until kind of recently, and I don't know why. I know what the ghost is, and ghost can fit into many things, but ghost watching in itself. I love you all. I'm so happy. I'm very happy with having you here as well, Mr. Valrulu. Can we say that? Let's say it in Swedish. Vallerud. It sounds really weird. And, you know, you, not you, like you, the letter U, or it really makes Swedish. I think that those might be the components to as to why you experience Swedish to sound like it's English backwards or something. I feel like it kind of messes up the whole how we perceive it when you hear it. That it gets very messy. Actually, I'm not. How did it go? I think we came on to a lot of things here. Maybe you had some. I don't know if you had some. I even wrote down before this started questions
no,
I want to ask you.
I think it was because I think we were talking about. I think it was Batman. Was it? That I'm Batman, you suck. I think didn't that person comment something in Swedish, and so you were wondering if they knew Swedish?
Yeah, right. And I think I saw a comment that they said it was Swedish, if I recall correctly. I think he said, "Oh, no, there's a lot of no, there's a lot of comments, so it's hard to find." It's so nice having you guys here taking part of the conversation.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, I've been wanted to talk and have this like interview and interact with Emily for quite some
time. I'm so glad that you came on. Like we've been talking about this for a while, and well, I mean, not even just talking about it, but I've been wanting to. I mean, basically ever since you've started commenting and I like found out about you in general, I've kind of wanted to pick your brain and stuff.
Yeah.
It is interesting as going back to like the ghost watching thing. It's like the weird thing about, and I never really realized this until like I started posting videos on YouTube. The thing is, like, you may see a number that's like your subscriber count or whatever, but like it only feels like, I mean, at least for me, because I interact with people in the comments, the people that comment on the live streams and the people that comment in the chat and the comment section, it feels like those are the only people that are subscribed. Like, I mean, not like, I mean, I know it's not that way, but it does feel like that. So like, I really do appreciate comments. I really like seeing people because like, I mean, I know that there are people that have watched and maybe have never commented before, but it's like, I don't necessarily know who's watching, you know? And I guess you probably feel that way too. It's interesting.
I totally see what you mean, and that also goes together with what you were. Now I forgot the name. Now I feel a bit bad here. Let's see. I need to find it in the chat. Well, I think it was a girl. Oh, inspo creator Gia. When you were realizing that you have been like ghost watching her, so in the same way, it kind of correlates to what we were just talking about. That you don't, unless you have a physically manifested thing, an action, a word, or a paper or something that someone is there. You might see a viewer number, but you're not. You don't know who's sitting on the other end, and maybe actually, in a way, on their end, in their perception, interacting with you without you even knowing it. So yeah, it's kind of it's very interesting. Oh, INFp perspectives, Mr. Mark is here as well, and Stephanie. Yeah. Wow, I recognize a whole lot of people here.
It's so nice. Know. It's so weird how, like, I mean, it feels like when you think about it, it really isn't that many people that are in like the MBTI community, but it feels like a lot, but it isn't. It's like this small community, really, and I actually think that's really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I think of course there are different layers and context of the community, but yeah, maybe you meant like the community that is actively taking part in like almost daily uploaded videos and such, like from INFJs and such. Yeah, it's more like a closed circuit, like almost like some type of cyber family friend connection thing going on, which is a lot of fun actually. I think I got very like encouraged in a way. I didn't upload too many videos, and it was very long between them. But you know, even having someone relating to or getting something out of the content that you're putting up, and just overall, I think I barely see INFJs have something lack of the blind spot for the TE there, I guess, not planning and setting up how this talk is gonna be and what I'm gonna say in this video. So I think many people feel into it very much because it might be much like themselves, and it's kind of raw. I personally like the raw thing, especially when you yourself, I gotten so many insights like from watching you and plenty of other INFJs that I appreciate. Some of them are in the chat. That both the experience itself correlates with my experience, but in a different way, and I can really feel their experience. It's like it's a nice connection. I love just the feeling of when I or someone else can just be authentic and talk or be, and it can be of some kind of service to another person, even if it's just for a temporary means of laughing, or if it's a long-term thing in regards of like insights or getting new perspectives onto something that you somewhere inside already knew, but now you shed light on it. And that's something that I find very beautiful with, for example, what you do. And I love that you have this consistency about it, which I'm very bad at being consistent with things overall. That is something that I need to work on, but working on something only holds it back. So it should come naturally. You know, we are always like human beings in society, back to society things again. It's like, it's always, I have to work on that. I have to be in a way better than that. I have to be better than that. I have to push myself. Like, no. Try not stop push yourself and start loving yourself and take it easy and feel and spend time with yourself. Maybe meditating, being in nature, working out. For example, for an INFJ who has low SC, try to, in a way, involve that in your life in a positive way. SC can totally overwhelm us and such, but if you do things like for me before all the chronic pain issues and such, I was overall, but now I'm getting back to the music and more movement and such again. So it's getting better due to better mental landscape. But you know, playing music and such, that is something that I would like to be able to share, like on the channel as well. You know, creative things, you know, all the things, for example, you do or many people do that I like, that uploads. It's a creative art in itself, at least in my perspective, when people are uploading like this and expressing themselves. Like it comes out of creativity rather than something that is planned and forced, and like categorized. And I'm gonna say this 1, 2, 3, and that, it's okay to have of course, to have I don't know where I was going with that, but I think it started with me appreciating where people are like raw, pretty much. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, no, I think you made some really good points. And as far as like creating and stuff and like making videos, since we're on YouTube right now, I mean, I have just like, because believe me, like, I have not always been a super consistent person in the sense that, like, I feel like I have been consistent, but as far as like YouTube goes, like I've wanted to do YouTube for so long, and like I would talk about it and I was like all talk, and maybe I would like dabble in it and then decide, oh, like, you know, oh, it's like too much, like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I just like put shit out. I just put shit out. I don't fucking care like how it is. It's just gonna be whatever it is. Again, I don't watch my videos. Like,
no,
the
not
videos
like
that I
none of
put
them
out, I don't even watch them. So
well, that it pretty much says it all in a way. You know, there's this thing that you might know of as well, and some people watching too. This other way of creating outlet instead of talking. If you're writing things, and so there's this technique of sorts where you express these things you're feeling on your mind, blah blah blah, whatever it might be. It can be so many different kind of things, and you burn it afterwards. It's kind of, in a way, the same. It's like you have experienced it, felt it, and that's also part of this growth journey. I feel like that's one of the ways that people go about it. Like they do it, but then they let go of the past. In that case, like let go of the attachments in some ways. So by not watching, I just saw a correlation between that and like writing, burning the things, and not watching the videos, because you're doing that which you are passion of, which makes you grow, which helps other people, but you don't necessarily hug into all the videos and maybe what you did wrong there, here and there, because that's that what we feel ourselves, perceive ourselves to falsely have done wrong, or I said wrong things there, but instead you're more consistent and productive because you are, I don't know how to explain it, but it's really nice, and it's such a great source for growth when you are consistent with whatever it is that you're doing. Working out, you need to do it over time. You don't get a biceps like an apple over a day. So meditation, if you really want to get deep into yourself, which it's hard to notice right now because I'm interacting with another person, but I can, like last year, I can get so insanely deep beyond my ego identity that I don't even, it's formless. Like in meditation, you realize that you're not only this character that you're playing out, and that's really cool. That's when when I come back from these states of higher consciousness and more spaciousness. That's where I notice what come with the greatest realizations in solitude. It doesn't have to be for people in meditation, just solitude and some peace and harmony with themselves, doing what they want. That's where we find ourselves, actually, in contrast to all the stimuli, outside stimuli of the society and other people, So I feel like doing, like, for example, constant uploads, which I hope in a way I can start doing too, the way you're doing it, because I really like it. That's, I don't know, it's inspiring to me, because that has been probably my biggest problem along in life, in regards of not manifesting, completely manifesting what I long for, want, my passion, because I haven't done things as consistently as I have to. And once you get the ball spinning, it's so much easier to just push it along a little bit, just keep going with it, instead of putting blockages in your way, like always thinking before you act. Like you said, just put the shit out, or whatever it was you said. Just do it. There's a lot to that. Like there's some risk-feely thing to it, and there's a fear-based thing with so many things we do. But if we just do it, then at least touch the water a little bit, instead of just watching it for our whole lives and fearing that it might be cold. It might be warm in the water. You might want to bathe in that water and embrace yourself in it. So just going about things, I think that's something I do a bit more again, as I did also last year. And I really admire when people do that overall, in whatever type of work or creative art they are doing. So that's also one of the reasons why I was like excited to do like this interview, especially with you. And I don't know, I just like the idea. Ever since you started doing this kind of interviews, it's I cannot explain it though, but I can see so much worth in it for more people than just yourself, and so many dimensions of how it affects on a larger scale. A seed becomes a flower, blah blah blah. There are so many things to everything, and it's very beautiful, actually.
No, I agree. I think, as far as like making videos and the interview stuff, my intention is not really like, I love interacting with people from all over the world and like just like talking to people in general. But the way I see this is not like, I am present in the moment right now, but I just think of like the catalog of videos that people will be able to watch, not because they're my videos, but because they'll get to see this conversation. Even yourself, you'll be able to watch this conversation, 5-10 years from now and be like, wow, I've changed a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Michelle Wilson asked, which I think is a great question, how do you not watch your video after recording it? That is the hardest part for me. So, I mean, okay, so this is not always been the case. But like, so I don't watch like the videos back, especially before I upload them. I mean, if I edit the video, obviously I have watched it. And there are going to be, like, I feel like my videos in the future are probably going to be, I mean, I don't want to edit too much. Like, I'm just going to make it more artistic, maybe more, I mean, there's certain videos that I will edit, but for, in general, I don't edit my videos, at least the car videos especially, and I just don't really give a shit kind of what I look like. I mean, I obviously wake up in the morning, I'm not trying to like look like a piece of shit, like walk down the, you know, but like I really fucking don't care. Like I just don't fucking care, and that's the thing. So like I notice, so I don't watch the videos back, but like when I'm commenting, I see like I have like a double chin in the video. And like, if I was editing these videos, if I was being critical of myself, I would be like, oh my gosh, like look at this angle. Because I mean, I can say I'm not doing the best angles in those videos at all. But I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. Like, who the fuck cares if people think I'm ugly, if people think I'm whatever? I care more about the message and putting it out there, and I don't even fucking care. And I know I've been like saying fucking shit. I mean, this is just like, I mean, just to drive the point home, who the fuck cares? Like, that's just what I think. I'm just,
oh god.
I just feel, I mean, I feel secure in myself in the sense that if someone thinks whatever about me, I don't know, but it's just like therapeutic to put stuff out there, and like I really care about the stuff that I say. And I mean, I don't edit it because I don't feel like I need to cut something out. I mean, there's many times that you see in the video where I have paused and said some really shitty, I mean, not shitty, but like, you know, it doesn't sound eloquent. It doesn't sound like, I mean, I don't edit it to be like, I don't know. But yeah, so that's about it. I just put that shit out there and then whatever. Like that's just my mentality. So
right now. Yeah, well well, okay. Oh wow. But yeah, well, I agree with it because, and that's overall more what I do as well. Instead of being, there's a bigger risk if you try to, in this case of like uploading videos, if you always watch the videos in beforehand, I feel especially maybe as an INFJ or an SE inferior, it's like something, you know, SE, it wants to give a good experience to people in a way, but since it's the fourth inferior function, it's like an insecure thing as well. But if we let, that's a place where we can overcome that, I don't know, psychological basic fear, because if we overcome that, we aren't necessarily as scared to engage in the SE reality, if so to say, instead of just stopping oneself, like, oh, the double chin is there again, my angle was shit, whatever. That could make something of tremendous, that would be of tremendous value even to one person, not come up to surface and be a part of that person's lives, which could have affected quite a lot. And even for one, especially might, you know, for oneself, you might get caught in loops at always questioning if you should do something or not. Like if you, do I dare to upload this? Do I dare to say this to a certain person because they might judge or think I'm ugly or whatever? You know, it got me thinking when you said that thing with when you wake up in the morning. With the And you caught yourself like with a bad angle and double chin and everything. If that was to block you all the time, but in different ways, not just physical ways, but your or one's belief in oneself or one's capacity or what one has to bring to the world, it would send block someone incompletely in the. It causes that's what basically what in a way on the far end of it what depression is. It's like suppression of the real you. Like the real you cannot be experienced by yourself and others. So then we go into this state where for example, like when someone is maybe in a very depressive state. I think I do have some tendencies of depression left, actually, by the way. But when it's at worst, how much do people really do in that? It's like they don't trust themselves to go out of the shell, or willpower disappears in a way. Like you don't get shit done if you don't allow yourself to shine your light or shine your own way, so to say.
Actually, I don't know why, but like when you said shine your light, but before you said get shit done, I just you have to put some shiny shit out there. Just shine your shit and just put it out there. Just shine that shit.
Shine that shit.
Shine the shit. No, I love the shirt ideas. I don't know if you saw this, but like Mark from INFp Perspective said, put that shit out there. And then Stephanie Douglas said, put that shirt out there. And she was saying that it was pretty meta. I agree. And then, okay, so Michelle Wilson. Okay, wait.
This is
she said something. I'm trying to find it to follow up. Okay. Oh. I am at the stage where I don't. Okay. Oh, that's Mark's comment. Why am I
mixed it up?
I said. Okay, wait. I saw something. Okay, honestly, what I look like isn't the problem with me. It's just like what if my opinions changed? Okay, so, all right. No, I realize. Okay. I don't fucking care. This is the thing. I will okay.
That's it.
I care about you. I care about Michelle. But okay, I think this is another thing that it's like a pet peeve of mine or whatever. It's like when people are like, "You've changed." Like you've changed. Oh my gosh, yeah, you've changed. I fucking hope I've changed. Yeah. My opinions are gonna fucking change, and they're gonna change, and they're gonna change, exactly. And they're gonna evolve. So exactly. As far as like the opinion thing goes, I don't care. Like I feel like I'm just like in a weird mood right now. But yeah, so I mean the thing is, okay, so if it was something like maybe I said something ignorant in a video, and I think this could go for Michelle, like maybe this is a fear of yours, saying something ignorant or incorrect or whatever, or maybe having an opinion that you really don't resonate with. I mean, I think just acknowledging that, and if you want to acknowledge it in a video, so like, for example, I recently went through a breakup. I thought the best in that. I thought that, we talked about some pretty serious things together. And so it's pretty hard to come on the internet and say, oh, I failed, or, things have changed. But that's just life. And I know it's hard, but I mean, it's like easier said than done to be like, oh, just don't worry about it. But as far as things go, in my mind, I'm going to have opinions, and they're going to change, and they're going to evolve. And some things, I'm going to say some ignorant things probably in the future, or maybe, I don't know. But all I can do is just say, hey, I fucked up, or hey, I have changed my opinion. So yeah, that's kind of I
It's
don't
like
know.
things do change, or we do change over time all the time. Even on a cellular level, we almost every cell in our body over the course of a month changes. Like they are changed out. So of course our thoughts are as well. It's all energy. So and opinions of ourselves. And what was her? What was her? Was it a question? More like what was his?
Her question. So she was the one that originally asked the question of about being consistent with videos and stuff and putting things out there. And then she did a follow-up of saying she didn't really care about how she appeared. It was more about being afraid of opinions changing.
Okay. Okay, well, it's a good thing to not have to at least be in blockage of the physical appearance in a way. I feel like to a great degree, I've let it get. I think, I don't know, maybe if you, anyone, but INFJs maybe with a very insecure starting base with SC. Have you, were you more insecure in a way about how you're looking before? And I personally, I was just wondering maybe if people could relate. I feel like before, even I actually for quite a long time before I got like chronically sick due to my mental problems and stress, I actually did have and that's the thing. It doesn't matter if the mental state isn't good. I was actually looking pretty fucking good overall, and I had like all these muscles, and I was toned, blah blah blah. But it was never enough, So it was not enough if you're not too well mentally, it doesn't matter if the physical looks good. Most people that it got me into a whole other thing right there. But it's such an unnecessary blockage, the physical appearance one, holding people back so much. And I think to some degree it still does for me now as well. There's some like core fear somewhere when it comes to maybe meeting a new girl or something. I'm just putting it out there because I'm trying to more and more in life be more raw. There's something since I like lost weight because of the chronic issues. Before I was like very muscular, and my skin looked better, my hair looked better, so many things that changes during the times of not being well into stress. It takes its course, which puts some fears, SE, like extroverted sensing fears I had when I was younger back into business, if so to say. But nowadays I don't let it control me, which I think it actually did in a way in the past. And that was even at the time when I was like getting admiration from girls and guys alike pretty often in my like teenage years. Oh my God, how many gay people that came up to me. Some thought I was gay as well, but I'm not, I'm sorry. It was pretty fun. And still I was insecure, So it's so funny how many things are blocking us from being ourselves, our full potential. And back to the change thing first, is the fear, Michelle's fear, like the change of her own perspectives and thoughts, or is it how if it changes and maybe if she uploads or talks to people, if they are gonna judge that, or is it that you judge yourself?
I might be misinterpreting this, so Michelle, tell me if I guess explain more about what you mean by the change thing. I think what she's saying is basically having an opinion. So for example, I mean, this is going to be a very superficial example, but let's say she was saying, oh yeah, my favorite color is red. Red's the best color in the world. Yeah. And then, a month or two later, she realizes, oh no, my favorite color is blue. And then that changes. And then she feels, I feel like sometimes people can feel like a fraud when they put out something that they think they like, or maybe in the day or in that moment they like, or I don't know. It's not as simple as that, but yeah, I think that might be kind of what she's saying.
Exactly. I when you explained your interpretation of it, I got more into the perspective of it as well. That's what, yeah. Well, something like you said, you your perspectives, and you know, to be completely fair here, it might sound controversial to some people still, but things are changing in the world, so it's gonna be the common knowledge in 5 to 10 years. Like, our thoughts are not real, they are not as we think they are. They do not shape, they trick us into, it's fear-based, you know, it's mind created, and we are not the mind. In reality of things, we are not the mind. If we can observe the mind, it's pretty obvious that we are something greater than that perception with the 5 senses, where the thoughts and the physical actually are involved. So back to maybe what we've been talking about a couple of times, I feel like the more we allow ourselves to just let things flow and allow, you know, if changes happen, you know, even if it's inside of us, if we have a certain set point, a certain bias of sorts, a certain what we think about something, what we feel about something, if it changes even over the course of the next day or over a month or something, we, instead of judging ourselves for it, we should just try to allow ourselves to see that everything actually, the only thing that is constant is change. You know, there's a saying of that, I feel, but it goes, our egos cannot really comprehend that we are always, the ego is always in resistance to change, because that means that we don't have control. And when we don't have control, the ego is the fear is set up, and we're afraid to die, we're afraid to lose our job, we're afraid to not have a home. So it's, yeah, I think it's more of allowing yourself to, and myself, which I'm doing more, and that make me forgive myself easier as well if I feel like I've been judgmental towards myself or someone else. If I just love, it's so easy really, but it sounds cliche for maybe people who are maybe not on the track or path of working with that in this regard yet. Like, if you actually start giving the love to yourself that you would give to your own child, or like to your beautiful ESFP dog, if you do that to yourself, you have so much to win. You can only expand from that. It can't get worse. It's impossible to get worse if you have unconditional love for yourself. It won't be there, you know. Overall, it's very few that are unconditionally loving themselves, or even loving themselves at all, and that's why we suffer, and that's where we can't feel like we can be authentic with people, because there's a part inside of us that is neglecting our true selves. And how can we then expect other people to know us or connect with us on a deep level? That's something I've come to see with myself. How can I expect other people to just know things that I don't even, first off, not even saying or showing, or that I don't even know myself, you know, that I don't want to acknowledge myself. Something that, you know, there's been coming up so many of these things due to meditation and silence, basically, where you find like your mind is trying to shatter you to pieces. If you will notice, sit for challenge for everyone, if you sit for 5-6 hours, try it, you will probably not be able to make it. Most people won't. I don't think I can right now either. Just sit 5-6 hours, not do anything, be as bored as possible. That's when you see how much of your conditioning and the fear-based things come up. And just be safe in your heart and know that none of that is actually real. It's just a mind projection. So the more and more we realize that, and the more and more we put that into practice or integrate that, and things are like, there are so much more to it. But that's like a key thing in a way. That's where life begins to change, and we dare to do things that we before weren't able to, because we neglected ourselves in a way. So yeah, all this try not to, I think overall people and myself, we have a very critical parent. For example, probably many here are INFJs, where everyone has this critical parent or grandparent inside in the
or you have a physical critical parent, like my mom. I mean, I think you guys have kind of, if you've watched a lot of the live streams and stuff, I think you've kind of seen a taste of how my mom is, like little spicy things here and there. Like last night she flicked me off while I was doing the live stream.
Yes.
But she's very critical, very, very critical. And I mean, I kind of am happy that she was critical of me and just other people, but also it was kind of deprecating in some ways. Like, it wasn't the best because, I don't know, like, there are certain things that she just, like, for example, basically a lot of my artistic inclinations, she would be like, whatever. Like, even YouTube, she doesn't care about this YouTube thing. She thinks it's kind of stupid, but yeah. Now I get that whole having an inward, I don't know, critical person.
Exactly, and that's that comes as a byproduct with all egos. There is this critical parent in the subconscious mind that is actually the one. For example, in INFJs, it's the introverted feeling, and introverted feeling in the sixth slot in MBTI terms. It's like fucking, I can recognize it in myself now as I've gotten intellectual knowledge. I've been so damn hard on myself, judging myself if I maybe, after interactions, I think I've been like this all my life. Did I say something, did I say something that might have messed up someone inside without them saying it or me noticing it afterwards, or even in the moment, but maybe sometimes it hasn't been. Okay, may I interrupt you? Did I hurt you or in some way? And how we actually, and more importantly, really to change all these judgmental patterns, because ego is judgment. It separates. What we once again have to do is just to mainly start to learn to observe the thing instead of just being completely attached to the drama that the ego creates. Because I've been most of my life, 90% of my life, I've been completely attached to the story of how things play out in my mind and thinking that it's real, but it's not. And it's such an unnecessary, elusive thing in nature. It's when you read, it sounds so weird for many people who hasn't tried it out yet, but it's in every human being that ever was alive with the capacity to observe the thoughts. And when you really start to see that the thoughts where you're neglecting or judging yourself or over and over again with the same patterns, you will start to see that it's like a dream, it's a play. So now if it is this dream, or if it is this kind of simulation with the five senses, there's something deeper behind which can observe it. If you, instead of just playing the character, see that you can play the character and enjoy it instead of suffering from the negatives from it. It's hard to get to a point from the context here, but there's so much to that, and with the just of being able to observe, like, what did I just think to myself? Does this serve my greater purpose? Does this serve me? And realizing if it doesn't, it's something. If it goes over again, it will manifest. So as the same way as we do, for example, with physical stuff, if we are consistent in our gym workouts, if you are consistent with uploaded videos, it will continue to happen. If we constantly, from when we were younger, judge ourselves for one reason or the other, many millions of reasons we do, it will manifest and become as real too. So I feel, we really have to be mindful to, and if we even begin to be, there will be struggles along the way, but if we even start that little path of sorts, I really, I encourage, like, absolutely anyone to do it, because you start to get some perspective and you can let go of things that doesn't serve you with some time. Maybe it doesn't release from, 1 hour of meditation, but if you start to do things that you appreciate and you're being more and more of your authentic self, and find peace in that and acceptance, and forgive yourself when you judge yourself and others, and know that it's not the end all be all, that you will, there's connect to your heart. Just in these moments, I'm just starting to realize lately, I've been learning from some like spiritual teachers and a comedian who's switched from being a famous comedian to a like spiritual-ish transformational person for people. He's absolutely brilliant. His name is Kyle Cease, and he really switches the perspectives from, why do I, for example, a 5-minute video, you can just sit meditating before, and you can sit down and just do that, and then start the video. He doesn't need to plan anything, and what comes out is like an answer to the classic, why do I let humans keep saying to himself, why do I keep doing my old habits, or why do I keep going back to my old habits? Why do I repeat the negative patterns? Like, he can, for example, he can do it exceptionally well by now, and with just some practice and time with ourselves, we can connect with that inner part of ourselves, the heart. You know, the heart is 1,000 times stronger than that of the brain. So that says, and the brain is powerful, as we know this, because it controls our life, basically. So going more to our hearts. And I think, Michelle, you should totally trust yourself and just be with yourself as anyone else.
I agree. This is okay. So I just thought of this. Well, I mean, I was looking at the comments, and also I was looking at the timestamp. We have made a record on this channel.
Whoa. How long has it?
We've been talking for over 3 hours.
Whoa, I actually see that now. I was looking. I can see that. Holy shit. It's a. We can call this when you name this video later. You can call this the shit interview with Jonas the Swede. There's been a lot of shit reactions here.
Yeah. No, I'll just write the description. But I feel like YouTube, like if you cuss or something in the comments, it won't show up right away on my end.
In live chats, or do you mean? How do you mean? It won't show up.
In the live chat, and also, yeah, like I've had to approve some of the chats, and also on the comments. Like if someone says like a profanity or something, it will go to it will go under review. Or I guess I set that up.
It's a setting you can have of sorts.
Yeah, I think I set that up. But yeah. But it should be just called shit, fuck, shit, fuck, shit, fuck. That sounds really weird.
Imagine if you named it like that for people to, like, it's almost like a clickbait. I don't know, it sounds weird. Some people would maybe go in and from seeing the title, they would be like, well, what the fuck is going to happen in here for 3 hours?
Yeah.
I mean, that title. Yeah, well, the time flew past. I could mention the time. I thought it might have been maybe 2 hours or so. I'm not too good with time, you know.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, it can just pass by very fast, oftentimes. Whoa.
I like Michelle's comment. Call it a shitty conversation.
That's perfect. INFJ interview. A shitty.
I'll probably keep it titled the way it's titled. But yeah, I think it's funny. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel like we probably should end soon. I know that like I'm Batman, you suck was using the restroom, so I don't know if they're back or not. So we should probably wait until they come back. But I do think we should probably end soon, because I also realized that I haven't had dinner yet. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, this interview started just basically right after your work. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, so my mom is just. It wasn't even just that. Like I get off at 5:30, and I didn't get back until almost 6. And then right when I came back, my mom's like, "You need to change." And then I changed, and we went on a walk with my dog, Henry. So I like rushed on the walk. Like I let my mom walk further than walk the walk we usually do. And then I turned around sooner because I was like, I need to get back. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, well, I can say if I had worked all day and now a couple of hours later, I would be very hungry and basically exhausted right now. Wow, it just hit me. The clock is almost 4 here.
Oh, wow. You need to go to bed. Okay, guys, we need to respect his sleep. Get to bed. And also, yeah, I need to eat. And my mom's going to be like, you've been doing that YouTube thing for too long. She'll definitely say something. I know she's going to say something.
Yeah. Critical parent is going to show up.
Yeah. But yeah, so get some sleep. I feel like this has been a great I've loved this. And
Yeah, I love it too. I would love to, in the future, when you have the time or possibility to somewhat do something of the same thing, maybe on my channel, if we could redo it in a way, and maybe because I had a couple of questions as well. We got into such a, talked a lot, so I even forgot about asking my own question, which I had for you. I asked one of them, but they will remain for a while, and maybe I can.
and
Maybe
I had more questions for you. Maybe we should have like a segment where we have the Swede on.
yeah, that's a good one. That would probably
The
be
shitty Swede. The fucking American.
I would actually love that. That would be so much fun. I love it, just making it things very silly, real, and just fucking shit up. That's yeah.
Okay. Before we go, okay, so Stephanie said something. Can we hang out in the next Jonas/Emily Emily stream? I don't know if you mean like actually on the live stream as well, because I kind of wanted to test this. I don't know if anybody would be up for this, like, because I don't know if this is a good idea since we're about to end this, but I wanted to see, because I think you can still invite people while it's live. So I think that would be pretty neat. Like,
you can put more people into the conversation
so,
via.
yeah, like right now, if I said, "Oh, Stephanie, join the live stream,"
Yeah.
I could invite her right now. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Which would be really interesting. I'm not really sure if that's gonna work or not.
Yeah. Well, we should probably check that out. That's
Yeah.
a great function. A nice add to the interviews overall, like where someone else from the chat who's interacting or interested in the topic can come in and talk, maybe for a whole run afterwards, or maybe just for a segment of the video or the chat, and just come in, share a little bit and get out back and forth. Yeah, that would be nice. I hope that function exists here.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if anybody wants to test it right now, or I feel like we need to go to bed. Well, you need to go to bed. I need to eat some food. But I think I will do that sometime. I've actually thought about that a few times. I don't know what the limit of people is. I might have to look it up. I think it's like a pretty large amount of people. I think it's like 20 people, I want to say.
Wow.
And then you can live stream for 8 hours straight, I'm pretty sure.
So 8 hours straight, and you can add maybe possibly then up to 20 people in the whole. Wow, that's a pretty nice service actually for free.
Yeah. And I'm doing this. Well, you can do Google Hangouts. I've done it like not through YouTube as well, but I'm doing this through YouTube, which is really cool. But yeah, I guess that's what happens when Google owns YouTube. But
yeah, exactly. It was a couple of years ago they bought them up or whatever, right? Yeah. That links well to. Wow, so many comments actually. I am sorry on my end that I couldn't answer all on.
Sorry, it's 25 people, I think. That's what Jeffrey's saying.
Wow, that's pretty fucking good. Not maybe, getting up to 20-25 people would probably be chaotic, and a lot of sounds, a lot of bad microphone sounds, when someone isn't talking. But
I can mute people, so I can actually mute you right now. So like, let's do an example. Just like talk on your end, and I'm gonna mute you.
Jag heter Jonas och jag pratar svenska och
I don't know if, okay. Can you guys hear him on your end? Because I muted him. He's talking. Can you hear him? Okay. Let's see. Oh, wait, no. Here, unmute yourself, because I can't do it now.
Oh, now maybe.
I think it worked. Did it work?
Yeah, it definitely worked because I was for a while there. I was actually doing the thing you asked, like fake talking to see if it worked. Then I was actually talking, thinking that it worked again because it came
Yeah.
up this blue
See?
string there. So I was
I have
talking.
the power to mute people, guys. I can mute. I can, if we had like 25 people on here, I could just mute everybody.
Control the whole thing, the whole conversation. Wow, that's powerful. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of cool. Yeah, no, I definitely think we should. Maybe we should come up with I mean, that's a thing. So I do have like interviews that we've set up. Like, I mean, I wrote a schedule. I didn't write like who the people I'm interviewing, just out of some people may not want to have that right away.
yeah.
But in the future, if we set up, I don't know, maybe next week, maybe a week, or who knows. But if we got like a group of people that wanted to do a live stream, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, that would also be like probably a completely new thing, I would say, in the whole, even if you go as far as stretching into the MBTI thing, but this whole community thing here,
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen people do that too much. Not
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Especially an ENTP, you know, a bit middle-aged man or some kind. I've seen him do it, but I think, yeah, I actually have seen it, but I never thought about it before.
Yeah, it's not a super. I don't think it's like extremely mainstream. But yeah, that would be really neat. And then not even think a lot of those are more educational.
Yeah,
I think it would be cool to talk about shitty and fucking things. Like, I mean, not fucking things. Let's not do that. Well, I mean, if you whatever you're into, guys. But yeah, just talk about shitty fuck stuff. I don't know.
Oh my god. This is the shittiest fucking interview ever. Siham Noor has done that before. That's cool. I've seen panels of 8. Well, that 8 people at the, well, it depends on. I can imagine it being a complete talk fest. It would be a lot of fun to try out. Maybe you could try to implement that as you were thinking about in the future, near future, and try it out. I'm quite.
Yeah. No, I think we should. I think we should definitely. Sorry, I like paused for a moment because I was like, I don't know if you guys experience this, but like, when I mean, this is just showing me that it's probably time to end, because when I get hungry, it's like food. Food or tiredness. But yeah, we should definitely let everybody know that we're gonna go.
Yeah, the time is past for now. Thank you everyone for watching from my end. I'm not the channel owner like Emily here, but it's nice to have you here. It's been nice to have you here.
Well, you're part of the channel now.
Yeah, I am. Feels good.
Stephanie, yes. Okay, so Stephanie's gonna be in the sling because of her, her surgery for 6 weeks. So yeah, definitely, Stephanie. We'll make you do things with your arms. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Your shoulder. Yeah, good luck with everything like that. And also, okay, so Auto Alchemy or Jeffrey. Emily, does Hangouts have options like share screen sharing, file presenting, etc.? We about to get formal in here. Obviously. Okay, so wait, I feel like, I don't know if you guys have watched this video. This is just like an ode to this old viral video, but you know the song, I mean, not the song. It's like this guy that's like they're crawling in your window. I think it's like they're crawling in your windows, they're snatching your people up, gotta something because you need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husbands because they're raping everybody out here. It's like this weird viral video from the past. It was so super funny, but he goes like, obviously,
Oh,
in the
wow.
video.
Oh,
So it just like made me think. Yeah, so it's super random. What?
it was a Vine, you said, right?
Yeah, well, it was before Vine. It was it's on YouTube. If you look up hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husband, like hide your kids, hide your wife guy, you're gonna find it. It's like this guy, and he's like, his sister like had a guy not rape. Sorry guys. If anybody's triggered, like that is not a funny subject, but there was a guy that broke into her house, and this guy, her brother, the one that was interviewed, was like, had a sassy attitude. Anyway,
I see it now. I see what I'm gonna watch it now when we end it. Going to bed with that video.
Anybody should watch that. It's really funny. It's a good one. Yeah. And they have like a remix. That's what I was thinking is the song. But yes, yeah. Okay, so obviously, Jeffrey, you haven't been watching some of the other live streams because I did a live stream on Enneagram where we did show that you can use that feature. So you're fake. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, for me, I can sense your hunger thing going on, because for me it's like, you know, we call it övertrött in Swedish. It's like overtired when you start like laughing about nothing or being messed up in your head, like it becomes a bit trippy naturally. That happens to me when I get hungry, and especially if I'm tired as well, but especially if I'm very tired, then it's almost like a psychotic laugh. I can get into a lot of weird fun stuff.
Yeah, no. Yeah. No, this is just an example right here. I'm like completely out of it right now.
Yeah,
that's perfect. I'm hungry. I'm a hungry girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get hangry too. So
I do as well, actually. That's one of the things I'm trying to work on. I tend to get, I don't know, easily moody when I'm too hungry. So I try to not get too hungry. It's not that I act bad to people, but I hold it inside. But yeah, I can get hungry for sure. It's a funny word, actually. It fits well. Wow, yeah. This was we have to end this now. You need to eat. You deserve to eat.
Well, and you need to sleep. I think more than anything, it's 4 a.m. there, right?
Yeah, 4 or 3.
So, I mean, I haven't talked about this really, but like when I move into the new house, I'll be waking up at like 4:30 every morning. That's gonna be like my new wake up call. So it's like when I wake up, kind of. I mean, I'm not waking up like that right now. I wake up at like 6 something, but still.
And you do that? Do you wake up at 6, 7 or something, even when you are not on schedule, when you're not working or such as well? Wow, that's something.
I'm a morning person. I'm a morning person. I used to have to wake up really early because I would work at Starbucks at 4:30 in the morning. But my reasoning is different now. This is just a lifestyle thing because I want to get stuff done. Yeah. But
yeah, it's easier to get a productive thing, the ball going, if actually going up a bit earlier in the day. Overall, it's like it's almost in a positive way of forcing yourself to do the most of the day in some sort of way. You do it over time. But every time I don't have overall, I always like to sleep more hours. If I didn't have to go study, if I didn't have a long drive to work, then I never would go. Not right now, at least. I think it's maybe a health dependent thing as well, that I couldn't go up at 6, 7 right now. At least I think I need at least to maybe 9, 10. That would be a good part for me now as I'm doing this little path, as I'm not working. It's always been the same. When I worked, I had to go at Volvo, for example. I went up at 5. You went up at 4:30, you said, right? Starbucks.
Well, no. My work would start at 4:30.
Holy wow!
Yeah.
Mine started at 6 something, 6:43. It was a bit weird. So
But that's early. I mean,
Yeah,
6 something is still really early. No, I mean Starbucks is just crazy.
Can't believe it's open that early. I didn't know coffee in Sweden is open.
If you open Starbucks, you have to be there 30 minutes before it opens. So like that particular Starbucks, that was when I was in college. So I would actually work in the mornings, and I would get off like pretty early, which was really nice. And then I would just go to class. And speaking of fake people, someone disliked this video. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I understand that people dislike videos, but like I cannot get that dislike videos. If I don't like a video, I walk away from it. I'm
the same way. I think there are very few times that I've disliked a video. It's only been if I see through like a whole scheme or of how something corrupted is, if it's like a very ill-meaned thing, you know. But overall, when I see, you know, I watch a lot of videos from a bit smaller YouTubers and such, and when I watch a video and it's like raw, it's authentic, and it brings value to many people, and I see like a dislike, let's say for example, if someone uploads a video, it has 10 likes and a random dislike comes in, sometimes it feels like some people do it just to do it, and
No, speaking of, as you were talking about that, whoever it was, I guess, disliked it. I mean, undisliked it, and then liked it, and then disliked it again. So I just saw it go from 0 dislikes. I mean, someone undisliked it. Yeah. Now there's 3. No, don't do this, guys. You guys are making me sad.
They're messing with our poor sensitive hearts. You are so mean. I will never be on the internet again. I'm gonna go cry in the corner now.
Bye bye. Little troll. What a little troll now. Oh my god, no more.
Do we have a lot of
let's have the ratio go all the way to dislike.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's everyone click on dislike only.
Oh my gosh, there's 6 dislikes now.
Wow. Can you see that change? I'm gonna dislike it as well. It was a fucking shit video.
Yeah, okay. I mean, okay. So for the people that are watching to this point, like if you write in the comments, just write something like "I fucking hate this shit" or something. And I'll approve the comments too. So like,
yeah, exactly. It fits the whole theme. That's perfect. Now we have 5 dislikes.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I don't really love this because I just don't like, it's such a pet peeve of mine. But so I hope the people that are disliking this video right now and they're trying to rile us up end up liking it, or at least taking away the dislikes.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
This is the most disliked video. No, it's 8 dislikes. I'm such a person. No. I disliked it myself, or did I change it without thinking?
Oh my gosh, people are so mean.
Yeah.
These are mean.
It's 9 now. It's just racing. This is how you bring people together. You make them dislike things.
Yeah. Hate this.
Yeah. It just feeds more and more, and now we're up to almost half dislikes compared to what is it called? Likes. That's good. That's where it should be at.
Yeah.
It changed from 1, right, to, or was it? Did it go back to 0?
No, then everyone started. And then it went back. Okay, so what it did was it was 1 and then it was 0. And someone, I guess that person liked the video and then decided, now there's 9. What the heck?
This is massive. I've never seen this before. Watching live.
Oh, by the way, guys, I can't believe I didn't even say this. Since, I mean, we've been talking about shit all day.
Yeah.
Well, live stream. I can't move my foot, but this is shit. Okay, I'm just gonna take the sock off. So my sister got these in Japan for me. They're like, they're kind of dirty. I don't know if anybody speaks Japanese.
I would love to be able to, but I don't.
But yeah, so
What is that supposed to be? Is that a shit?
It's a shit. It's a poop.
That really fits the theme.
So I have shitty. Oh, my mom.
Hey, mom.
Hey, mommy. I need to eat properly, right? I haven't had dinner yet.
Well, that's your problem.
I can see that you were waiting for an answer. I can see it in your eyes and gestures. And oh, there he is. Oh my goodness.
Where's the florist, Mom?
She's wherever she is.
Okay.
That's the simple answer to things. If I took that question, it would be like, well, last time I think I saw her there, but go into a whole spiral of, yeah. Sometimes it's better to be a bit more concrete and say, yeah, fuck you, man. Wow. Wow, 12 days now.
Yeah, I know. This is insane. I don't know. This is crazy, guys.
Good job. That's a very interactive chat. I've never actually seen something like it so far. It's pretty adorable of you guys. Them socks, though, yeah, it's a lot of poop and socks and fucks and shit in this whole thing here.
Yeah, it really should be called the shitty fucking video.
Yeah, I'm completely down with that. It's your channeling content. I'm actually. It reminded me. I'm gonna take my magnesium pill right now. Try to use magnesium, guys. It's very good for sleep and longevity. Well, it's good for your nervous system. That's very good.
I hate when he licks me because. Okay, Mom, I'll go. Okay, guys, I think it's time for me to leave.
Yeah, I thank you very much for the 3.5 hours or something.
Wow. Okay.
She made it dark. Now we're back into the horror movies.
Oh my gosh, I look so creepy. I look like I'm from a.
Yeah, it really does look.
Hey
this
guys.
is what I was talking about before. This is my past fears.
I feel like you can watch like a really weird, like, you know those like happy videos. Yeah. Like we'll just watch Jonas. No. What to do?
You know, it looks so wow. You know, when you go forward like that, it looks. And someone maybe watching from the bed and like half asleep, they would be like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
This is so creepy.
It really looks. I'm almost considering. Let's cut the light out, guys. Do I look like a creep?
You still look like a person because you have your what's it called in the background? The candle.
Oh right, yeah. I look like a person, but you look like a evil demon. And those gestures, yeah, it's really how. Oh shit!
Wait, let's see if you can see Henry. I can't see that. Well, yeah, you can't really see.
Is that supposed? Nah, I can see him. Or otherwise, if I could see some nuances of him, maybe it would be an evil dog with his evil Emily. Look.
Oh, I just put the brightness higher.
Yeah.
Oh my! It's like echoing.
Is it echoing again? Okay.
Let's see.
It didn't echo too many times though for 3.5 hours or something. That's pretty impressive. Both using speakers. That's really nice. Okay,
I was gonna say I look like the witch. Oh, it's like
the witch.
I look like you know Snow White. Not Snow White, but I mean it is Snow White, but like the mirror, the magic mirror. I feel like
my god! I just got like fear-based nostalgia right now. No! No, I'll be scared every time I see you, Emily. This is not good.
Yeah. Hey guys!
Hey, Blair Witch Project, yeah. Imagine if all of your future uploads like going in the same direction of keeping growing and such, but bringing inspiration to people. But instead, you go about it in this way, like having it a dark. So nothing of the beautiful things that are supposed to come up and be a seed in people's head. It instead becomes a fucking horror show.
Yeah, like I feel like if someone just clicked through this video and they just saw
That I think some people would actually click. People do like, it's kind of we like scary movies because something in us likes to get scared. It's kind of weird. Some people actually would click on it because it looks weird or scary or the unknown.
oh my gosh, what if the thumbnail that it's pulled is like one of those photos?
You
Like
kind of, oh my goodness, it really looks dangerous when you get close to the camera. Imagine just lightning. That's just one of our senses when it's confused. Like if you take away the light, everything, your perception really changes.
yeah.
That's if we take away our, for example, embracing and forgiving our thoughts and what we have done and failed at, that also disappears when we shed light on it. So it kind of goes the same way, Oh, I can see you again. Impressive.
Yeah, I turned on the light. My mom.
I'm not used to seeing you like this. I'm used to seeing you like a demonly. Emily Demon. How do you put that together? Demonly. Oh my goodness.
Mr. Pumpkin.
Can you see me, Pumpkin? Oh, he doesn't have at all the same colors or so like my oldest cat, but he has the same energy of sorts and the same fullness compared to the other. I don't know what it is. He's orange. Mine is what is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to show it sometime. I think you will be able to see, but it reminded me of him, even though the color was not even the same.
No,
okay.
I would love to see it. I don't know why it's still echoing. Oh, I hate this.
What do you say?
I hate that it's echoing. Oh, it's not echoing now. Okay.
Yeah, I heard that.
But yeah, I should probably go.
Yeah, I thank you so much for the interview. Wow, it got much longer than I thought, and I enjoyed it. I'm sorry for a bit of delay for your food, though.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. And I mean, you're the one, again, it's like 4:17 there, 4:18 now.
Yeah,
so
that's correct.
You need to go to bed. I don't like this sounds really bad, but I don't even feel hungry anymore. I'm so hungry, I don't feel hungry anymore. So I might just go to sleep for dinner. I mean,
sleep for dinner.
Sleep for dinner.
Yeah, you change the food for sleep instead. Yeah, why not? Take a nap. Or are you considering maybe going to sleep completely for the next day as well?
Yeah. No, and I love how there's still 6 people that dislike this video, but oh well. So is life, I guess.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys
change your mind.
Yeah, change over to the light side, even though we were on the dark side.
Yeah, don't be in the dark side like Emily was. For a couple of minutes. Be the light, Emily. Come on.
Well, you're in the dark right now, kind of.
Yeah, now I'm the dark one. The demon Jonas. That's a scary thought. That reminded me of something. What is it called? Halloween. Yeah. It was like you were dressed or like had makeup for Halloween, looking scary when it was dark.
Yeah.
I don't know, how is it called? Not context. Fuck it. I'm getting tired and hungry as well, actually. So I can't. I'm also like I can't either. All
right. Well, let's just. How about you say goodbye in Swedish?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, it's like hej då.
Okay.
Hej då allihopa, tack så mycket för tiden med Emily här och jag hoppas att ni har en underbar kväll eller dag och att ni får sova så gott och ha en fin dag. That sounded weird, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. Weird switch. Yeah, thank you so much for the interview and for being you. Actually, you're a great inspiration too. I think to many of us, and to me at least, I know you are to many more as well. Even the shadow workers and the ghosters who doesn't comment. Surely.
Well, I really enjoyed this, and I hope that you put out more videos. And even though you don't have any videos right now, because do you private your videos or do you just delete them?
I have privated one video for a while just to, it was a very, well, let's say dark video or sad video after one of my best friends died a couple of months ago, but which I put up. I chose to private it for a while to feel onto it, to like dive deep and to see. It's hard to explain, but I think I'm in the process of uploading it again just for the sheer value of how others can have use of it in a way. And I also, in my own way, as I expressed it, it was just half an hour or an hour after I found out that it was dead. So I just, for the first time ever, like filmed myself, expressed what I felt outwardly. So that one I actually did private after like a month or so. I think there is some subconscious fear of some kind. Not that my ego perceives it as that, because I want to share the all authentic shit. But there was some subconscious thing that I still had to deal with as I realized that I actually uploaded something so vulnerable for me. But I think it's of great value to others. So I'm actually written down already that I will make it public. And I think overall, no, I haven't deleted any videos at least.
Okay.
But I feel like I want to be more like consistent in the flow and uploading videos as you are as well. So you're inspiring as such.
Well, you should. And I mean, going back to like Michelle's comments or questions, because I feel like they're really good. It's like, I mean, as far as putting stuff out there, I think the best thing you can do is if it comes from a place of like love and like comes from a positive place, you know, things are going to change. People change.
Yeah.
I think, you know, put stuff out there. And if you need to private videos and maybe, like, I don't believe in deleting videos anymore because I wish I didn't delete some of the videos, not from this channel, but like when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Because then you could have that to like look back to and reflect on and see what changed since then, and also there's something beautiful and nostalgic about seeing these things, and also the value for others, of course, that might have been missed out on. So there's even, you know, when I think about it, I regret that I came into a mind state one day where I actually did private the video, because most of me, the real me doesn't see a reason for it. There just came up something probably connected to my past of not sharing myself too much with because I've like my early years had to shy away from showing if I was angry or sad to my father or something. So I think it has to do with that, and I reflected on it, and it hit me that this might be some of the reasons why I have not been able to be the full vulnerable wholehearted me to people all the time in life as I always longed for. So it gave me some realizations, and I will probably put it back up. I mean, in a very weak, suffocating state in that video, actually. And I don't know, it was, at the time, it was even painful looking at it, watching it myself. But that's what you grow from, you know, if you can embrace that, the sadness, the fear, whatever we have inside. So that's what changes from darkness to light inside of us, from fear to love, all these things. So we just gotta face these things, you know. Yeah. All
right, well, I think we really have said bye so many times, so
goodbye again for the 7th time.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.